Okie dokie. All right. So, Saturday night, everybody. Are we ready? Are we locked in? Are we ready to fucking go? It's party time. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's not party time. Um, so first things first here, because first things first, because I was stupid. I did a stupid thing and I fucked up my video. So I'm gonna like redo my video here real quick, and we're gonna go back through. I think that's a little loud now. We're gonna talk about Hassan's ban and everything real quick. I think I can just turn the music off. It's a little loud in my ears too. So hold on here. Okay, let's just talk about it. Okay, so basically, I fucked up my video, and by the time I realized it, I had deleted all of the shit from my computer to make space. So, redoing it here on the fly, real quick. Give me a second. Okay, so Hassan Piker was banned from Twitch, and basically, I know what I specifically want to talk about here, but let's just run through the scenario real quick so that you can get a idea of what has happened. A lot of this, and pretty much all of this, really, most of this entire situation basically stems from somebody who hates Hassan making a post, so to speak, making a post and calling out Hassan, right? So somebody who hates Hassan decided to make a big deal about something that he said. Specifically, it was Dan Saltman, who, if you don't know, is friends with Destiny. Who, if you don't know, is friends with Destiny, who also, shocker, does not like Hassan. So there's this angle of like Zionism, but also just like weird personal vendettas that manifest in trying to get Hassan deplatformed. Which, while I do find interesting from the pure angle of just, I do just find these things interesting. Um, like there is just a cultural sort of there is just a part of it that I do find interesting, but that's not really what I wanted to talk about. That's not like the big issue here. So putting that aside, you had Dan Saltman, who posted this clip, and he tagged Twitch, he tagged Twitch support, he tagged Dan Clancy himself. And he says, reported clip from today. If you want proof of Twitch support / Dan Clancy abandoning consistency, it doesn't get clearer than this. Now, I do think they abandoned consistency, but not for the same reasons that Dan Saltman does, which I will come back to in a little bit. This is the rule the ADL begged for. This is the rule the ADL begged for, by the way. Extremist politics on both sides have gone insane on Twitch with no enforcement. Okay, so that's what Dan had to say. Ah. Sorry, I'm a mess over here. Hold on. So that's what Dan had to say. And then he posted a clip of Hasan, which I will play for you here in a second, so you can actually hear what Hasan said and you can make your own judgments on whether you think he deserved a ban. Technically speaking, yeah, I guess he did violate the rule put in place by the ADL, which, shocker, Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the ADL, has a personal hate boner for Hasan as well. Once again, all of this seemingly coming down to people who really fucking hate Hasan. And when I say Jonathan Greenblatt hates Hasan, I really mean that because sometimes it sounds personal, you know? It sounds like he has a real personal gripe with Hasan. Actually, I will play some of the videos for you that he has. This is the main one that I think shows how much he does not like Hasan.
ADL, what we try to do is to provide data, is to provide tools, is to step up, but often quietly behind the scenes. It doesn't help. I don't think it helps the Jewish people, and it doesn't disarm them when I go after Nick Fuentes or Hassan Piker, a revolting person. They should call him Hamas Piker. He's here in LA, and he's just a putrid, says horrible, slanderous things about Jews, about Zionists, about Israel.
And has a big platform.
Yeah, so you might not know Hassan Piker, but if your kids are watching video games, you better believe they do. Because on Twitch and on Steam, he's everywhere, let alone on YouTube.
On Steam, he's so stupid, bro. Oh my god. So, yeah. The rule was put in place by the ADL, and head of the ADL does not like Hasan. Also, the Hamas Piker line, I love how he acted like he came up with that himself, you know? Like he isn't just like scrolling on the internet seeing people call him Hamas Piker. Like that's so crazy. That's not something he came up on his own. He got that shit from online. Like, Jonathan Greenblatt, are you just that chronically online as well? Like, that's kind of crazy, my guy. I think that's actually insane. Because this is the head of the ADL. He's supposed to be out here doing things that are, you know, supposedly good for our society, although we all know that's not the case. And he's really just going after anti-Zionist groups and voices. But this guy is literally so online that he knows the Hamas Piker line. That's silly. Like that's unserious. You are not a real person. So anyway, the reason that there is a rule on Twitch. Oh my god, sorry, my voice is like killing me today. The reason that there is a rule on Twitch that makes it so that you can't use Zionist in a derogatory way or whatever is because of the ADL. And that's why Hasan got banned, because he said this.
This
Hold
is
on.
another big suck. This is another big suck my dick to all the fucking Israel dick riders out there. You fucking rabid ultra Zionist pigs. You fucking run around going, oh my God, Israel first, Israel first. Why are you tying this back to Palestine? You fucking rabid ultra Zionist pigs. You fucking rabid ultra Zionist pigs.
So, one, I mean, he's right. Like, I don't. Dan Saltman sucks. That's all I'm gonna say. Dan Saltman sucks. Hasan is right. They are fucking pigs, and I don't know. Like, that's fucking light to me. Like, I can think of many worse things I would like to call Zionists. Respectfully, said with love. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of worse things I would love to call them. After spending over 2 years defending a fucking genocide, I can think of a lot worse things I would like to call Zionists than just pigs. But I will hold my tongue on that because I am currently live on Twitch myself. But whatever, it's fine. So my main issue with this, because I am a person who likes consistency, I'm a person who hates hypocrisy, I hate the bullshit, and you have motherfuckers like goddamn Asmongold. Asmonmold. Whatever the fuck you want to call this jackass, right? Hold on. You have fucking Asmongold who will say shit that is 10 times fucking worse than anything Hasan has said about Zionists. For example, after Renee Good was killed, what did he have to say? I wonder. Was it something perhaps remorseful? Or, I don't know, empathetic? Or did he sound like a goddamn sociopath? Place your bets.
Well, hey, maybe they shouldn't be in front of the car. The thing is that you're never going to convince these people that it's not, okay? Like, it doesn't matter. The only thing you have to do is crush them. You crush them completely. You never go, like, after you say, basically, after you run one of them over, right? Or you shoot one of them for trying to run you over, then you victory lap around it and you send in more people and you do it even more. That's the only solution. That you're never going to win these people over. You're never going to explain it to them. You're never going to be like, oh, well, why won't you see my point of view? Because they don't want to. Why not just shoot the tires? So that way you make the car unsafe and some other innocent bystander can get hurt indiscriminately because the person didn't follow the law? Nah, bro, you shoot them right in the fucking face. They said to stop the car. They said not to do this. They said to get out. And she's walking around, driving around. What are you talking about? Absolutely not. You shoot him right in the fucking head. Well, hey, maybe they shouldn't.
Now, among other things, kind of wild how he's like, shoot him in the head so that you don't make the car into a dangerous entity that, if you were to shoot out the tires. Like, that is literally what fucking happened when he shot her in the head. It was the same scenario. Like, you're like, don't shoot the tires because it would be dangerous. It's stupid. There's no logic here. It's fucking bullshit. The point is, was he banned for this? No, absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. Are you kidding me? No, of course not. Of course not. He was not banned for this at all. And there were other things that Asmongold has said that he has not been banned for. Let me see if I can find the video that I want to show you. I did a video on this when he said this shit, but yeah, here it is.
Back to Somalia.
Another thing Asmongold said and was not banned for. Meanwhile, remember, Hasan was banned for calling Zionists pigs. Keep that in mind when you watch this video.
That's what needs to happen. And anybody complicit and you have to make the punishment infinitely worse than the crime. And I'm talking about deporting the entire family, denaturalizing the entire family, sending the entire group of them back to Somalia. That's what needs to happen. And anybody complicit and anybody involved in this scam. And until we have a candidate and a person that's willing to do that, then I'm not really interested in voting, if you want me to be honest. I'm really not interested in voting, because why is it that I'm going to vote for a slow rot of my country whenever the solution is so obvious? You can't flip the switch? Yeah, you can. You can easily flip the switch. You just do it. If J.D. Vance does not push for treason with capital punishment against Tim Walz, do not vote for him. If Trump does not deliver that.
So yeah. All I'm asking for is a little consistency here. If it's so bad, so awful to call Zionists pigs, Zionists who, once again, support Israel, which is an apartheid state, and has committed a genocide, then I think just maybe, there should be consequences for saying shit like this. And I personally don't even think the ADL rule should exist, so if we got rid of that, then fuck it, it's fine. Do I still kind of think there should be consequences for saying shit like this? Yeah, but if we're not going to be, having rules like the fucking Zionist one, then fine, fuck it. I will accept not having rules that punish people who say shit like this, even though I think there should be. But that's not the fucking scenario we're dealing with here. In fact, we are dealing with the worst scenario, really, which is that you can't call Zionists pigs. You can't insult Zionists or say Zionists in a way that is considered derogatory, I suppose. But you can dehumanize Somalis. You can call for the death of other U.S. citizens, celebrating the death of other U.S. citizens, and that's not a problem. All right. No, that's pretty. It's pretty much what I expected, but like, it'd be cool if we could just not do that. There's definitely a right-wing sort of slant here happening where people are just sort of catering to the right, catering to the whims of some of the worst people on the internet. And it's not like the right actually cares about this shit. Like, there are people on the right who don't want, Zionists to be insulted or talked about in a certain way, of course, but the vast majority of them don't give a fuck. But they don't like Hasan. They don't like that he's, a leftist, that he has certain politics, and so they continue to disparage him and try and create this negative image of him at every turn. And so if they can get him deplatformed along the way, then that's just, a plus. That's the goal at the end of the day. So if they can do that, then they win. That's what they want. And I don't know. I just think that this is really fucked up. This is really fucking stupid. And again, I like consistency. I like things to be fair across the board. I'm a Libra. I'm sorry. Don't know what to tell you. I like balance. The scales. I like things to be equal. If we're going to ban people for calling Zionists pigs, and at the very fucking least, you gotta ban people for dehumanizing Somalis, dehumanizing undocumented immigrants, and saying just the most vile shit you can about your fellow fucking man. Which is what Asmongold does basically every day at this point. Like, I don't know what else he fucking does now, other than insult and call for the harm of those less fortunate than him. It's pretty disgusting and pathetic, but about what I expect from a guy who lets roaches crawl all over him, I don't know. All right. Okay, that's that. Yeah. I wanted to do that because I fucked my video up and needed to redo this fucking shit. But in the aftermath of all of this, because I was going to talk about that as well, Hasan ended up streaming on YouTube and he had a very successful stream. So I don't know exactly if this worked out in the way that they were hoping. To remind you, this all really kind of stems from Dan Saltman, who is, again, someone who hates Hasan. I mean, this is his pinned tweet from May 5th, 2025. Hasan Piker, the male feminist who weaponizes police against women and shares revenge porn. All right. And then you just fucking scroll one tweet about Hasan, two tweets about Hasan, three tweets about Hasan, four tweets about Hasan, five tweets about Hasan, six, 7, 8. I'm just scrolling. Like, I'm literally just scrolling. He does not have a single thing that does not mention Hasan. 9. Can we get some 6 side-by-side tweets of the past? Okay, this is the first tweet. It took 9 fucking tweets. It took going back to January 24th to find something that this guy had not posted about Hasan Piker. Like, I don't think that's normal. Like, I think you're a little obsessed at that point. You have a problem. Like, and this is someone that Twitch decided to take seriously and cave to when it comes to banning Hasan. It was originally for 7 days, and then it got shortened to, like, I don't know how many. I think he said he was going to be back on Monday. So there you have it. I think that's really insane. If you are someone who tweets about somebody else that much, you need help. Like, you need to reevaluate yourself and your life. And it's not just Dan Saltman. Obviously, he's friends with Destiny, and there's a lot of this similar energy from Destiny towards Hasan. So I don't know. I mean, look, I don't know. I don't know. I like Hasan. I don't think he's perfect or anything, but I like him enough. I think that this is just kind of this guy is kind of crazy. Yeah. I don't know. That's all I gotta say. That's it for that. So yeah, Hasan ended up doing his ICE protest stream on YouTube, and it went well, which sucks for Twitch, I guess. At that point, you kind of fumbled there. Um, I do think that Twitch is kind of taking the wrong steps as of late in regards to a lot of things, especially even going back to TwitchCon with the Emaru situation where they had the guy who assaulted her, like, I don't even know, they gave him like a they didn't even ban him from the platform until people made like a fuss about it from what I remember. And then they seemingly were lying about how they were handling the situation, and they did not handle it well, and they've just kind of been taking a lot of missteps along the way. And if woke comes back in a big way, I could see this being a problem for them. We'll see what happens, but yeah, that's where I'm at with Twitch. I do suspect that maybe some people will find themselves not really wanting to stream on Twitch going forward, depending on how things keep going. But I don't know how much of that will actually happen given the sort of options that are out there. And it's usually just YouTube, or unless you're, someone crazy who's going to go to like fucking Kick or Rumble or something like that. But that's that's crazy. I don't know. Do normal people have like Kick accounts? I don't think they do. I don't. I definitely don't. I've never been on that website. All right. So, other things. We had other things I wanted to get to today. We should get into them. Let me finish this video because I'm recording it. So let me just if you're watching this later on YouTube, thank you for watching. You should subscribe, hit that like button. If you're watching it live or on YouTube, hit that like button. And that's really all I got. So thank you and goodbye. All right. Moving on. Um Couple things I want to get to here, but first things first, I wanted to take a look at this from Reuters that's been going around. Like I said, hit that like button for me and subscribe because you're cool and you're having a good time. All right, so um, look, I don't love to talk shit about a dead man, but fuck Biden, bro. Um, God, okay. So, U.S. envoys to Israel blocked early warning of apocalyptic wasteland in Gaza. God, let me try that again. U.S. envoys to Israel blocked early warning of apocalyptic wasteland in Gaza. This is from yesterday. It's a Reuters article. Just, take a look at the video here. But God, let's see if my old boy Matt Miller shows up in this video. God, I hate Matt Miller so much. If there's one of those guys that I hate so fucking much, it's Matt Miller, and I don't know why he's been like the guy who's taken the majority of my ire, but I think I just saw so many of his like press conferences that it was like I think I'm actually going to kill myself. Like, you are actually possibly the worst person ever. Like I cannot. But hopefully he won't be in this video and I won't have to lose my mind. But let's just see what we got here. This pissed me off. I'll get into my thoughts in a second, but yeah.
Just 3 months into what would grind on as a 2-year war in Gaza, staff at the U.S. Agency for International Development drafted a warning to senior officials in Joe Biden's administration. Northern Gaza had turned into an apocalyptic wasteland with dire shortages of food and medical aid. The internal message laid out in gruesome detail scenes observed by United Nations staff who visited the area on a 2-part humanitarian fact-finding mission in January and February of 2024. They reported seeing bones on the road, dead bodies abandoned in cars, and, quote, catastrophic human needs, particularly for food and safe drinking water. But according to interviews with 4 former officials and documents seen by Reuters, the U.S. ambassador to Jerusalem and his deputy blocked the cable from wider distribution within the United States government because they believed it lacked balance.
This is a difficult time. Representing the United States as ambassador to the State of Israel is a profound honor.
The former ambassador, Jack Lew, and his deputy, Stephanie Hallett, did not respond to requests for comment. The February 2024 cable...
God, I love it when they do that, when they just don't fucking respond. It's like, dude, you're such a fucking pathetic little worm. Like, you were out here saying all sorts of shit for months, you know? Saying whatever you needed to say to support Israel, to push their agenda, to distract from the genocide, and now you have nothing to say. Now you have nothing to fucking say. Now you're silent. Now you're like, sorry, no words. Like, all right, you need to fuck you. Fuck you. You're pathetic. You are less than human.
Was one of 5 sent in the first part of that year, documenting the rapidly deteriorating health, food, and sanitary conditions. That's according to 6 former officials, who said the communiques reported the breakdown of social order for Palestinians living in Gaza, resulting from Israel's military campaign. Reuters saw one of those cables. The other 4, also blocked by Lew and Hallett because of their concerns about balance, were described by 4 former officials. 3 former U.S. officials said the descriptions were unusually graphic, and, had they been widely circulated, would have drawn the attention of senior U.S. officials within President Biden's administration. They also said it would have deepened scrutiny of a national security memorandum issued by Biden that month, which conditioned the supply of U.S. intelligence and weapons on Israel's compliance with international law. Former Secretary of State Antony Blinken and representatives for former President Joe Biden did not respond to requests for comment about the fact that the cables never reached upper leadership of the U.S. government.
We recognize that there are real food security issues in Gaza, 100%.
Like, fuck every last one of these motherfuckers. Every last one of the goddamn press secretary, whatever. Fuck you. Fuck every last one of you little worms. I can't. I hate them so much. I hate them so much. I don't necessarily believe in an afterlife, or I'm not necessarily a religious person, but if there's anything that makes me hope that there is a heaven or hell or something to that regard, it is people like this, because I do not think there is enough punishment that we can deal out on this earth that is fitting for someone like, I don't know, Benjamin Netanyahu. You know, like, there's not enough. Like, it has to be divine. It has to be an eternal punishment for your soul, sir, because there is just no other way to remedy this situation. There is no other way to make this right, because you need to pay. You need to pay for your actions, and I don't know that there is a way for you to do so in this life. I simply do not know. Again, I'm not a religious person. I don't necessarily believe in an afterlife, but if I've ever wished for one, it was moments like this. Because God, do I hope you get what is coming to you.
As the cables were being drafted in early 2024, the White House and other senior U.S. officials were broadly aware of the worsening humanitarian situation in northern Gaza. In January, the embassy did approve the wider distribution of a cable about food insecurity throughout Gaza, and the information made it into the president's daily briefing. It was one of the first detailed reports from USAID into the rapidly deteriorating situation inside Gaza, including growing food insecurity in the south of the enclave. Biden said this in February.
There are a lot of innocent people who are starving, a lot of innocent people who are in trouble and dying.
But 6 former U.S. officials said senior people in the administration were not receiving regular first-hand accounts from Gaza because of intense battles between Israel and Hamas. Moreover, USAID had ceased operations in Gaza since 2019, and much of its reporting drew on information provided by UN agencies. 3 former U.S. officials told Reuters that dependence on third parties contributed to some Biden officials' skepticism of USAID reporting because USAID had no staff inside Gaza. In several instances, the former officials said the White House pushed back on USAID analyses that suggested civilians were starving in Gaza. The skepticism about the U.S. government's humanitarian reporting stirred tensions inside the National Security Council and angered USAID officials working on the Gaza portfolio. The Biden administration's backing for Israel during the war deeply divided the Democratic Party and remains an unresolved issue for its political candidates. More than 80% of Democrats believe that Israel's military response in Gaza has been excessive and that the United States should help people in the enclave who are facing starvation, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll last August.
Israel carried out its heaviest...
Okay. So, yeah, oh, man. It's just, there's a special kind of rage. There's a special kind of anger that I feel about this. And Joe Biden is a Zionist through and through. Like, he has been a Zionist since he was a fucking child, since before Israel even existed. Like, I don't even fucking know. His dad instilled that bullshit in him as a literal baby child, okay? There's an article about it somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Because this, I think about this every fucking time people express some sort of surprise about Biden's support for Israel. Was it this one? I don't think it was that one. Hold on. I might not be able to find it. I don't know where it is. I don't even remember what website I first read it on. But there are definitely some out here. Let me see if I can find a good one then. There's a lot of like pro-Israel. Here we go. There's a Reuters one. Let's look at this one. Here. All right. Okay. So, Joe Biden. I am a Zionist. How Joe Biden's lifelong bond with Israel shapes war policy. I every time people express some sort of like surprise about or shock about Joe Biden's, I don't know why I keep calling him Joe Biden. You can just say Biden. I'm a little tired. Just about Biden's support for Israel, even though he's Catholic, he's an Irish Catholic. it's fucking like it goes back to his fucking dad. Like, here, Biden has partly credited his pro-Israel worldview to his father, who insisted, following World War II and the Nazi Holocaust, there was no doubt of the justness of establishing Israel as a Jewish homeland in 1948. Just gonna zoom in a little bit here because my monitors. Biden's awareness of the persecution of Jews over the centuries and a record high in the number of anti Semitic incidents in the U.S. last year could also explain why Hamas atrocities committed in the October 7th attacks on Israel were so disturbing for the 80-year-old president, according to a former U.S. official. But yeah. There's another article that goes into it more, but that is it. Like his fucking father taught him that shit when he was like a literal baby child, like tiny baby. So not surprising. It was always going to be this way. And also it was probably always going to be this way because, you know, it's just kind of the US policy on, you know, Israel is to support it at all costs. So yeah. But yeah. Super awesome that they had a lot of information very early on and chose to fucking ignore it and said fuck the Palestinians. And I'm very tired of hearing people try and argue that, as someone who did vote for Kamala, I am tired of hearing people say that Kamala would be oh so much better for the Palestinians, etc., when she did nothing to prove that. She did nothing to prove that. She did not separate herself from Biden. She did not take any action that made it clear to people that she was going to be significantly different for the Palestinians and make a significant difference, and it affected her chances at winning. I'm very tired of people acting like it's the voters' fault for not voting for her, because at the end of the day, it is the candidate's job to earn the votes. It is the candidate's job to do what needs to be done to convince people to vote for them. If they cannot do that, then they have failed. It's not a failure on the voter, it's a failure on the candidate. So, it just, with more information that comes out, it just becomes more and more frustrating to constantly hear people go, Kamala would be different, Kamala would be so much better. Okay, well, then she should have done something to prove that. She should have taken action to prove that. She should have said, literally, I will be different than Biden. Or I would separate myself from Biden, or I would have done anything different than what Biden did. And she didn't do that. She didn't do that, and it makes me very sad, you know, because now I'm living in the Trump administration. So I just yeah, it's so fucking, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's representative of where we are as a country and as a society, that large groups of people are considered as disposable for whatever reason, and ultimately it is written off, you know. It's like, oh, we're being skeptical, blah blah blah. Then take some time, take some effort to actually verify the information, rather than just be like, we don't trust the information that USAID is giving us, you know. Like, do something different, do something proactive. But you don't want to do that because you know that Israel is committing a genocide and you just want to ignore it. That's the ultimate thing. You don't care about the Palestinians. You don't care what happens to them. And so you don't care if Israel commits a genocide. In fact, you probably like it. You probably support it. You're probably cool with it. Odds are you're like Joe Biden and you're chill with it. If you're in the Biden administration at this time. So there you go. That's that bullshit. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because holy fuck, is that just right? It just shows how fucking decrepit that dying old man is. I hope that he is suffering. Like I really do. I hope that he is suffering at this very moment and he continues to suffer for a significant amount of time. I want every last moment that he has left on this earth to be one of suffering. Because it will still not make up for what has happened in Gaza and what has happened to the Palestinians. But it'll make me feel a little bit better to know that he's suffering. All right, moving on to not lighter topics because I think now it's the Epstein files. Yeah. Okay. I haven't. Hold on. I haven't really talked about the Epstein files much at all because I haven't had a whole lot to say. Mostly I just think it's pretty devastating that this was allowed to go on for so long and that there were opportunities to sort of stop him, and obviously that didn't happen. And there's so much fucking shit with this. There's the Israel connections, there's the other connections to other governments, there's the part about like where did his money come from, and it's just there's so fucking much. There's so fucking much, and my brain is only able to to sort through so much at once. So it's taken me a while to sort of process all of the information we have been receiving, and it's still taking me time to process as we've gotten new information. But we're gonna go through this and see what we got here. I know there's some stuff with Bill Gates, which was fucking insane. And yeah, just super awesome how we are literally ruled by goddamn pedophiles who want to who just get away with it. Who really just get to get away with it. Again, not a big believer in the afterlife, but if I've ever wished for one, God is it now.
Department of Justice released its latest and likely last major batch of files related to investigations into the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This
Also, Ghislaine Maxwell, who has been moved from her prison to a nice cushy prison and I believe has a fucking puppy now. Like, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? we are not a serious country. We are not a serious country if we cannot fucking punish our sex criminals at the very least. People who are taking advantage of literal children. You put them in prison and give them a puppy. Like, what are we doing? God, I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. And it just keeps going. It just keeps fucking going. I don't know what to say. I really don't.
Comes more than a month after the DOJ missed a deadline set by Congress and signed into law by President Trump. It includes more than 3 million pages, 2,000 videos, and 180,000 images. The DOJ says there are redactions, including the personally identifiable information of victims, but the department has not provided a full explanation of what's excluded. The Deputy Attorney General said the White House did not have oversight over the review or redactions.
We complied with the statute, we complied with the act, and there is no, we did not protect President Trump, we didn't protect or not protect anybody. There's a hunger or a thirst for information that I do not think will be satisfied by the review of these documents. And there's nothing I can do about that.
Our team has been going through that document dump today, and NewsHour Justice correspondent Ali Rogan joins me now with what we know. So, Ali, what did we learn today?
Amna, this was a massive document dump, as you said, 3 million pages. As you can imagine, our team is still sifting through them. Before today, for comparison, the DOJ had released about 500,000 pages, so this is orders of magnitude bigger. And the person making this announcement today is also notable. Todd Blanche, now Deputy Attorney General, he was President Trump's former personal attorney. He was emphatic, though, that the White House had no involvement in...
Which is insane. Like, it's insane that Trump's former personal attorney has been given this position. Again, we are not a serious country. We are not a serious people. We are a joke. What are we doing? It's corruption from the ground up. like what the fuck? Like, there's so fucking much bullshit with this administration that this is like... It's like pennies on the dollar, you know? It's just kind of like, oh, it's here. I don't know why I said pennies on the dollar. That's definitely not the right use of that term. God, I am so tired. It's just it's not real. It's not accurate. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It's such a small thing in comparison to all of the crazy out of this world shit that they've been doing. And like, there's so much stuff that you can't even talk about it all. There's like the crypto shit. There's just there's the pardons. There's so much. There's Venezuela. There's Iran. There's Greenland. There's the Epstein files. There's the ICE stuff. There's so fucking much. Like, you can't, like how do you talk about it all? How do you discuss it all? How do you even contend with it all? Like, what do you do? It's sensory overload.
In any of the preparation of the documents. He also said that between this release and a forthcoming report to Congress, once that's out, the DOJ's obligations under this law that Congress passed, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, will come to an end.
So I know you're still going through the files, but what do we know about what is inside the files themselves so far?
I think most notably what people are looking for is mentions of President Trump, and there are thousands of them in these documents. Many of them, we should note, are news clippings, but there are some lists and summaries of unsubstantiated claims made against him from individuals alleging wrongdoing, including graphic depictions of alleged sexual abuse, including of underage girls. Some of those complaints date back to the 90s, others from more recently, around when he was campaigning for president. What we don't know, though, is whether any of these claims have been substantially investigated. But the Department of Justice says that they were required by law to release everything, including those documents that were fake or falsely submitted. There's also a new diagram we saw today that shows basically an organization chart of Epstein's inner circle. Some employees were blacked out, but we see the connections between him and co-conspirators like Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as several attorneys and an accountant. There's also what appears to be a new picture of a desk or a table filled with photos of Epstein, Maxwell, and public figures including Trump, as well as one with Pope John Paul II. We've also seen in past releases some...
Dude, that's fucking crazy. What do you mean with the Pope? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is like, who the fuck was this guy, man? I mean, obviously, big blackmail guy, right? Like, that's it. Like, that's it. He's just the blackmail guy. But like, how the fuck do you even become the blackmail guy? Like, again, there's so much to process. I can't. I'm doing my best, man. There's just, oh my god. Like, every time I think that you can't find somebody else who has connections to Epstein, they like drop somebody else. Oh, does it? I'm curious to see it. I haven't taken a look at it, but um I definitely will in a little bit. I don't know I don't know what he what they talked about exactly. I imagine it won't give me much hope, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Um yeah. Anyway, Epstein. Crazy. I'm just like, is that just $1? No, for sure. It definitely tracks. It's just every time there's like a new person that shows up in my brain, it's just like, oh my god, like how many fucking people did this guy have connections to? Like, who, it's easier to like say who he wasn't connected to at this point. Thank you, I appreciate it. Have a good time at work. I mean, as good of a time as you can. I don't know what you do, so maybe you enjoy your work. I hope you do.
Pages are entirely redacted and others are completely mundane things like schedule updates. Anna, I also want to note that we've reached out to the White House for comment and they have provided none.
We should also note, I understand there are other members of the administration mentioned in some of these documents. What do we know?
Are those just full page redactions? Like, what even is the point of that? Like, am I crazy? Hold on. Like, what is the point of this? Why did you even bother? What the fuck? I'm sure there's like a legal reason for it, but I do think that is very funny actually. just releasing full pages of just redactions. Like, god, that's incredible. That's actually incredible. Like, that's like, again, that's a joke. That's silly. Like, that's just a silly, I'm sure that's one of those silly things that happens because of how our like legal system works and stuff like that. Like, there's, again, probably a reason for it, but I do think it's funny.
I understand there are other members of the administration mentioned in some of these documents. What do we know?
Yes, we already knew that Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick had a relationship with Epstein, which he claims had ended in the early aughts, but new documents indicate that they made plans to meet for lunch in 2012 on Epstein's private island in the Caribbean, while Lutnick was also vacationing in the Caribbean elsewhere with his family. And it does seem in those documents like they followed up and had that lunch.
We should underscore here, just being mentioned in the documents is no indication of any kind of wrongdoing, but we should also double down on this idea. The deadline to release those documents was more than a month ago. Why has it taken so long?
I will say, if there isn't anything explicit, I'm likely to lean towards there not being anything. I mean, there's obviously stuff that we haven't seen because it's redacted, so that could be anything. But Epstein did not seem to be someone who hid what he was talking, like what he was doing very, very much. Like, he obviously hid it, but if looking at the correspondences that we have seen, they're fucking writing shit like, oh, thanks for coming over to my house and eating all those babies this last weekend. That was so much fun. Please come back and eat more babies soon. Like they're not they're not like subtle about the shit they're doing. They're openly talking about it in emails and shit. And so I will say that if there is evidence of people being involved, then it's likely um you know, I imagine that I imagine that if it exists, it's fairly explicit. Like it's probably not something that's subtle, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. It's probably something fairly obvious. Um and I believe he did that shit like, you know, like took all those pictures and was very like open in correspondence about various things because he was, you know, blackmailing people and using sort of this sort of power that he had. But it it is just still crazy to read some of these messages and like just wonder just how do you feel typing that shit out? Like do you is there a part of you that's just like, ah, this is kind of crazy. Like this is kind of wild. I mean, I guess not. Um but it is just wild to me. Fuck.
It was indeed. It was on December 19th. The Department of Justice says they sent more than 500 lawyers to go through these documents and meticulously redact these things. In a letter today, Attorney General Pam Bondi said they'd identified more than 6 million pages that needed review, which resulted in the 3 million today. They say they redacted personally identifiable information of victims and sexually explicit material. She also said that approximately 200,000 pages have been withheld or redacted because of various privileges, including attorney-client privilege, and that within 15 days they're going to give Congress a more detailed look at government officials and quote, politically exposed persons in this document, although there's no definition of what politically exposed means.
Speaking of Congress, how is all this landing on Capitol Hill?
Well, we heard today from one of the authors of the Epstein Files Act, Congressman Ro Khanna. He says he has outstanding questions about why, by the DOJ's account, 2.5 million of these documents remain out of public view. He said he was looking for victim interview statements, many of which were included in today's tranche. He's also looking for additional documents from Epstein's computers. But of course, Amna, this massive tranche was just released today, so there could be more revelations in the hours and days to come.
Justice Correspondent Ali Rogan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Epstein files.
Well, the files also show that
Musk discussed visiting island in 2013. Yeah, from what I've heard, not a good look for Elon, but what even is a good look for Elon at this point? he's always like, also bold. I will say bold as hell to be like, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's why he's not releasing it. And then to turn around and also be in the Epstein files. One, that tells me he never actually saw the Epstein files. And two, I think he was just betting on Trump never releasing them. Because I think that I do think that he never saw the Epstein files because he didn't expect himself to be in it. And yeah, I think that yeah, he just God, he's so stupid. Richest man in the world, everybody. Remember when people thought Elon Musk was like smart and cool? God, what a time that was. Fuck.
Epstein repeatedly took the fifth during a 2016 deposition when asked more than a dozen questions about former President Clinton. Among them, several about whether Mr. Clinton visited Epstein's private island and flew in his private plane. The former president has denied ever having visited the island. So has Elon Musk, yet the files contain at least 2 emails discussing just that. In one from the 24th of November 2012, Epstein writes, "How many people will you be for the heli to island?" Musk responded the next day that it would probably just be him and his then wife, adding, quote, "What day/night will be the wildest party on our island?" A year later, Musk wrote Epstein saying, quote, "We'll be in the BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays." BVI's British Virgin Islands. "Is there a good time to visit?" To which Epstein replied, "Always space for you." It's unclear if that or the other visit took place. Representatives for Musk did not immediately respond to a request for comment about the new emails. And Musk in 2019 told Vanity Fair, quote, "He tried repeatedly to get me to visit his island. I declined." Now, Musk, you'll recall, famously posted this during his beef with the president this year, quote, "Time to drop the really big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files." Minutes later, he followed up with, quote, "Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out." Now, keeping him honest, that's kind of hard to do. He seems to have taken the post down along with the first one. Also in the files, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who famously said he'd broken ties with Epstein in 2005, vowing to, quote,
Lutnick is such a fucking freak, bro. Like, the 9/11 shit is fucking crazy. I won't go through it. Maybe I won't go through it because it's like but like basically stealing money from the survivors, from stealing money from the families of 9/11 victims. Like that's basically what he did. Long story short. Also, there's a timeline where he doesn't survive 9/11, man. There's a timeline where he's there, you know? Just saying. I will not say whether or not I wish I lived in that timeline, but it exists.
"Never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again." The files, though, reveal Lutnick or his wife, Allison, were in touch with Epstein as recently as 2012. In an email from Allison Lutnick in November of that year, she writes, quote, "We are looking forward to visiting you," adding, "We are traveling on a yacht called Excellence, and I am CCing the captain." A spokesperson for the Commerce Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So a lot to talk about tonight. Starting us off, CNN Chief Legal Affairs Correspondent Paula Reed. She's been going through.
I'm not gonna lie to you, that message just made me feel a real sense of rage. Like I really I really hate rich people. I'm on a yacht. I'm CCing the captain. Like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, oh my god. I never want to hear you talk again. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Through the documents all day. So what stands out to you from the documents you've reviewed so far?
So the document that really stands out at this point is this list of accusations against President Trump, because the FBI compiled this list last summer, and this is a lot of the kind of information that investigators gather when they're looking at whether charges should potentially be pursued. For example, they're looking at unverified tips. Some include secondhand information that came through a tip line. It appears the FBI followed up on some tips. At least one was found to be unverified. But this is the kind of information they collect but do not usually make public if there are no charges brought in a case. Now, of course, President Trump has always denied any wrongdoing connected to Epstein, but there are a lot of questions that are raised here. First of all, why did the FBI make this list of accusations specifically relevant to President Trump?
The thing with Trump and Epstein is I just don't believe that Trump could be friends with Epstein for as long as we know he was and not know anything. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that Epstein would have had him that close for that long and not brought him in some way. It's just ridiculous. like that. I think that in and of itself is enough to just sort of at least be suspicious of Trump when it comes to Epstein and everything. It's just we know they were friends. We know they were friends for a significant amount of time, and it just doesn't make sense that Epstein wouldn't have at least made his activities known in some way, or Trump is completely oblivious and didn't realize anything that was happening. Because again, it's not like Epstein was really like around people like Trump. He wasn't exactly hiding it, you know. So I don't know. At the very least, I think he knew some shit and continued to be friends with Epstein, which is pretty sketchy in and of itself.
Trump, though President Bill Clinton was also mentioned in there. The document was also taken down at least twice today. Last time I checked, Anderson, it was back up. But this list of allegations will likely prompt more questions for the Justice Department and the White House, even though this release is, of course, part of an effort to try to tamp all this down.
Trump in the Epstein files. The Justice Department releasing millions of new pages of documents from the Epstein files, and among them is a list that Trump's own Justice Department compiled, his own Justice Department. This list details a list of sexual assault allegations related to the president. Now, this list was released this morning as part of this document dump, but then suddenly disappeared from the Justice Department's website. That was noticed, called out, that got posted again. The administration claims that that snafu was because the site got overloaded. Now, many of the allegations appear to have come from unverified tips. Some are incredibly graphic and disgusting and upsetting, frankly. The files also today released included a complaint from a woman who accused Trump of raping her in 1994 when she was 13 years old. According to the complaint, the woman, identified as Jane Doe, claims, quote, Epstein was angry that Trump was the one to take Doe's virginity and then went on to rape Doe. That's just disgusting and depraved. It goes on in graphic detail. These descriptions do mirror the allegations of Jane Doe made in her 2016 lawsuit against Trump, a lawsuit that was eventually dropped. Now, at the time, Trump denied the allegations, his attorney telling Politico it is categorically untrue, it is completely frivolous, it is baseless, it is irresponsible. I won't even discuss the merits because it gives it credibility it doesn't deserve. And Trump's DOJ, again, stressing, quote, this production may include fake or falsely submitted images, documents, or videos, as everything that was sent to the FBI by the public was included in the production that is responsive to the act, referring to the act of Congress forcing them to release these files, of which this chunk they're releasing, of course, is a month after the deadline. And while Trump is not accused of any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein at this time, he has fought vehemently and obsessively against the release of the files, lashing out at reporters who have pressed him for a long, long time on why his Justice Department has been so slow to release anything.
I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax. We have nothing to do with Epstein, the Democrat.
Democrat hoax. It's a Democrat hoax. No. Yeah, all right. No, okay. Sure, bro. Sure, fam. It's not like you said you would release them or anything. It's not like a bunch of Republicans were like, yeah, release the Epstein files, and y'all were like, yeah, we'll release the Epstein files, and now you're like, nope, we're not releasing the Epstein files. Although you released, quite a bit of them, I suppose. Well, not quite a bit, but they released a lot, but there's still like a lot that they didn't release. Like a lot that they didn't release. Yeah. Again, I do think that even putting aside allegations, putting aside Trump's, other sort of incidences that we know about and that kind of thing, it just seems very unlikely to me that he was friends with Epstein for as long as he was, and nothing came of that. Like, it just seems very unlikely to me that this man was in Epstein's life for as long as he was and didn't know anything, didn't participate, didn't have anything to do with it at all. I just don't know about that. Seems unlikely to me. Seems very unlikely to me. Like, I'm supposed to believe that Donald Trump was the one, like, rich and powerful man in Epstein's orbit that Epstein didn't try and blackmail or involve in his exploits in some way. Like, I don't believe that. Just I don't believe that, man.
All of his friends were Democrats.
Is there something incriminating in the file, sir? Quiet. When you talk about the Epstein...
Okay, I'm sorry. I am sorry. The quiet piggy shit was low-key funny. Like, not like Trump is funny, but it just... The president of the United States saying quiet piggy is objectively funny. We are a non-serious people. We deserve every part of this.
It's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax.
Joining us now is Virginia Democratic Congressman James Walkinshaw, who sits on the House Oversight Committee. So, Congressman, the ranking Democrat on the Oversight Committee, Congressman Robert Garcia, released this blistering statement after the files were released, saying, in quote, in part, "We are demanding the names of Epstein's co-conspirators and the men and pedophiles who abused women and girls." Do you accept the government's explanation for the redactions they've made?
No, I don't. I mean, look, the Trump administration and the Department of Justice has slow-rolled this release at every turn. Today, they released 3 million of the 6 million documents we know they have. We know they have 6 million because they said it. They released 50% of the documents, and the 50% we have today are heavily...
This, like, I know there's a reason for it, but this just like rolling shots of Epstein and Ghislaine as a couple is very weird. Like, it's just very odd. It's just like watching these like romantic, lovey shots of them together. It's just like I don't know. Can we get like a mug shot or something? Like, both of these people have been arrested. Like, let's just put it up. Like, let's just put up the mug shot. Like, oh my god, like, I don't need all these couple pictures of like them, you know, on motorbikes or at the beach or whatever. I don't need it. I don't want it. Let's just put the mug shots up, bro.
heavily redacted, so they continue to cover up the full
Like,
truth.
look at this. Like, why are we doing this? There's so many pictures of them. Like, they really just went and got like all of the couple pictures of them that they could find and were like, just put all of these up. It's just every last one of them.
Truth that's in the file. So we're going to continue to push the Oversight Committee's investigation. Will continue throughout this Congress and into the next Congress, I suspect. We're not going to stop until we get the transparency that the survivors are demanding.
I mean, some of the claims in some of these files are I mean, pretty bizarre and don't sound very credible. In your view, should the general public, what should the general public take away from these files? How are people supposed to know what's credible and what isn't?
I imagine they're talking about the Bush one, which I will admit, that shit was crazy. I don't know if I have it, if it's gonna come up in like one of these, but the shit, I don't even want to like repeat it. You can look it up it's like on Twitter and shit, but you can, if you just type in like Epstein files Bush, it'll come up to like show you like what they're saying about Bush. And I don't know. I don't want to be the person who's like, I don't think this is real, but like, there are definitely some things that are like, if that's real, we're talking about a level of like depraved of just insanity that I didn't think we were gonna get to here. Like, I mean, like, obviously raping minors, raping children is fucking awful. It is basically the worst, like one of the worst things you could do, if not the worst thing that, you know, can be done. if there is something worse, it's probably what they were saying Bush was like doing or whatever. Yeah. That I'll say that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. And, you know, there are a number of uncorroborated or perhaps unverified allegations against President Trump there. And I think what I would say is all of that deserves additional scrutiny. Some of them have been revealed publicly in the past and perhaps have limited credibility, but all of them should be explored. You know, the Oversight Committee in the coming weeks, we're going to be deposing Jeffrey Epstein's accountant, his attorneys, the attorneys for his estate. So we're going to continue to ask questions. And I think this release, although limited, not what the law requires, this release will provide information to guide our questioning as we move forward.
Among the materials that the Deputy Attorney General Blanche said were withheld from this release were files that would jeopardize an active federal investigation. Is it clear to you what investigative avenues remain at this point, or if there are any active federal investigations ongoing into this?
I have no insight into the active investigations that the Department of Justice might be engaged in. Obviously, we know President Trump has done what he has done repeatedly and directed the Department of Justice to investigate his political opponents or Democrats with respect to Epstein. I hope that's not the path they're doing. If there are real, legitimate investigations based on what they've learned in the files, those should proceed without any interference or involvement from President Trump.
And as we mentioned, the Deputy Attorney General Blanche said that unredacted files would be made available to lawmakers who coordinate with the Department of Justice. Is there a plan to do that? I mean, obviously, it's a lot of files. Is that even possible?
Okay, I'm gonna go to the next video. But yeah, let's see.
The Department of Justice releasing its...
I think this is probably... Let's see, I just want to make sure. I wanted to... Skip to this
More than
one.
3 million pages, 2,000 videos, and 180,000 images. CNN teams are carefully sifting through the largest, and what the Justice Department says is the last, batch of Jeffrey Epstein files. It's an enormous trove of documents, and it includes references to some of the richest and most powerful people on the planet. That includes the current president, a former president, cabinet secretaries, a former prime minister, billionaires, and the list goes on and on and on. The Justice Department says tonight that its job is done.
We complied with the statute, we complied with the act, and there is no, we did not protect President Trump, we didn't protect or not protect anybody. I mean, I think that there's a hunger or a thirst for information that I do not think will be satisfied by the review of these documents.
I should note that just because someone is mentioned in these documents does not mean that they've been accused of wrongdoing or did anything wrong. Many of these claims are unverified or they rely on secondhand information. But these are the key findings our team has uncovered so far, and I should note, millions of pages have come out. We are still digging right now in this hour. Donald Trump's name appears thousands of times in these new documents. In some, he's merely mentioned in emails that Jeffrey Epstein sent to other people. But the files also contain a complaint from a woman who accused Trump of raping her in 1994 when she was just 13 years old. According to the FBI document, this accuser, who is identified as Jane Doe, said that Jeffrey Epstein was, quote, angry that Trump was the one to take her virginity and that she was also raped by Jeffrey Epstein. This woman had previously launched lawsuits against Trump and dropped them. The last one happened right before the 2016 election. The president has previously denied these allegations. Also included in today's release was a list of sexual assault allegations related to the president compiled by the FBI in August, many of which appear to have come from unverified tips. We don't know why tonight the FBI made this list, and there are more than a dozen allegations that are included in it. But recall what the president has previously said about these documents, about the Jeffrey Epstein files. He said that they are a hoax and that the release of them could ruin people's reputations.
I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats, It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters.
I mostly wanted to see if they were gonna talk about. It doesn't look like it. Hold on. The one that people were talking about. Also, I guess he got banned from Xbox Live. Jeffrey Epstein. Which I just think is a crazy bit of lore here, but so Bill Gates. Is it this one? Yeah, I don't know. So Bill Gates, I guess he got an STD and then asked Epstein for I don't even know, antibiotics to give his wife as well, or get medicine to give his wife as well, to which is just secretly, which is just insane. That's actually terrifying to me, to be in a relationship with someone or married to somebody and have them fucking secretly drugging you. Honestly, that is one of my worst fears, is to have someone that I trust deeply betray me in such a way. Which I think is a normal fear, actually, now that I say it out loud. I think that's a fairly normal I think that's a fair fear to have, to be betrayed by someone you trust. But yeah, I there's an email from Epstein. I'm not gonna read the whole thing here because it's a long ass email. These guys are verbose as fuck. I cannot believe that you've chosen to disregard our friendship developed over the last 6 years. I am aware that accidents happen. It is how each of us has chosen to deal with this unfortunate event that has me dismayed beyond comprehension. You've decided to discharge me from my job. Had Larry, your PR person, tell me that I engaged in morally inappropriate behavior. Asked me to be the major actor in a cover up so that you can maintain the reputation that you have worked so hard to achieve. Da 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 da. Yeah, it's just it's fucking crazy. To add insult to injury, you them implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. You request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to. This man is ridiculous, because how the fuck can he have typos and shit? Because he's fucking dyslexic, right? With shit with to add insult to the injury, you them implore me instead of you then, and then he uses words like surreptitiously. Fucking you're fucking ridiculous. You're a little bit ridiculous. You're a ridiculous person. On top of so many other things. Because what the fuck? Give to Melinda in the description of your penis. You also made it clear to me that I am not to refer to blank, as that is another topic that must remain between the two of us. In return for all of these requests, which I have done without a second thought, I am not to attend meetings with Melinda. I should continue to provide you the same level of service and dedication that I have done so diligently until you are ready to discard me and our friendship. So, yeah. Bill Gates. looking not so great for you, my guy. But it was already not looking great for Bill Gates. Like that was we already knew he had Epstein connections. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about this for now, I think. Um it's just like a devastating topic. I mean, I I I think the victims deserve justice, and unfortunately, it's not something that is easily gotten in this situation or in situations like this to begin with. So, yeah, and every entity involved seems to be working against trying to get them justice as opposed to working towards getting them any sort of justice, which is fucking great. Great. And fuck Trump. Just fuck Trump in general. Again, I just think it's not possible for this man to have been connected to Epstein, friends with Epstein, and having absolutely no connection to any of the more nefarious dealings that Epstein had going on. I don't believe that is possible, just given the circumstances, given how Epstein was with everybody else. It seems weird that he wouldn't be that same way with Trump. So, I don't know. Do with that what you will. Let's move on to an actual happier topic. Real quick, hold on. Let's wrap this up. This is a happier topic for me.
Tonight, the death penalty now off the table for Luigi Mangione.
We're all very relieved.
A judge in Manhattan today dismissing 2 of the 4 counts against the 27-year-old who's pled not guilty to stalking and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in 2024. The judge acknowledging that this is violent criminal conduct under any common sense understanding, but ultimately finding prosecutors' legal arguments for why the death penalty should apply unfounded under federal law. Today's decision a major blow to the Justice Department, as the Attorney General has invoked Mangione's case in a push to revive the death penalty under President Trump.
If there was ever a death case, this is one.
At the same time, the judge handing prosecutors a major win, refusing to
Yeah, so that's ultimately why I am a fan of this decision. I don't like the death penalty. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like the idea of the state making that decision and carrying out that action, especially since our justice system is flawed and people have been convicted for things that they did not do, especially on the merit of their skin color or any other variety of factors. So, not a fan, don't support it, and don't necessarily want to see the government try and push for that shit. And so yeah, I am very happy that they fucking shut this shit down and that he will not be facing the fucking death penalty, whether he, is guilty or not. That is a whole other topic and remains to be seen, but I am glad that he will not be facing the death penalty, simply because I don't support the death penalty. And I think that this was a very obvious attempt to try and sort of push the death penalty more often and more loosely. It's not just been Luigi Mangione. There was I don't remember who else it was, but there was someone else. Oh, I think it's Tyler Robinson that they are also wanted to hit with the death penalty. Like they specifically, like the federal government was talking about it. Jeez. Like it's enough to have it happening under state governments and that kind of thing, but I really don't think the federal government needs to get involved in that shit at all. So, yeah. Very, very short little bit about this here, but yeah, that's really all I got to say on that. I don't have anything else to say. The things I would perhaps say may get me in trouble. I tried doing a video about this. When in the back when it but maybe not back when it happened, but I don't know. I did a video on Luigi Mangione at one point, and it's the only video that I've ever had YouTube take down. So, yeah, they did not like that video for some reason. I don't even know what I said in that video that pissed them off, but they were not a fan, took that shit down expeditiously, and rejected my appeal. So, that was very early on. Like, that was back when I had, like, the shitty ass microphone, okay? So, yeah. I'll just keep that one because I still to this day do not know what I said in that video that was controversial because I very much did not, condone the actions. I was not out here like cheering for the death of Brian Thompson or anything like that. I very much said that I think that murdering people is bad. I still think that. So I don't know what I said in that video that was against the terms of service. So I will remain a little bit quiet on that front for the time being, but yeah.
Toss out key evidence authorities discovered in Mangione's backpack when he was arrested, including a gun, silencer, and a notebook with his writings. His defense had argued none of that evidence should be allowed at trial, since authorities failed to get a warrant before searching the bag at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. But the judge disagreed, concluding police were justified in conducting that search.
We look forward to fighting this case.
This is the case inches closer to trial, with support for Mangione still pouring in as he's racked up $1.4 million in donations for his legal defense fund. And a bizarre episode this week when
That's crazy. Also, yeah, this guy fucking, I guess he like tried to break him out of prison or something. Listen, at its core, this is a murder case. Like, this is a murder trial. But I will say, basically everything about it is kind of hilarious. Like, it is kind of very funny. It's just every aspect just adds on to it. Like you have a murder that happened, and then the majority of the people in the country went, "Oh, I kind of get it," and then from that point on went, "Oh, no, he's hot," and then proceeded to just defend him at every turn and donate incredible amounts of money to his defense, and in some ways has become a little bit of like a national anti-hero in some ways. I don't know. I'm very fascinated by the Luigi Mangione arc, or lore, or whatever you want to call it, the evolution of this person in the public sphere has been very fascinating, very interesting. Curious to see where this all goes, especially as this trial sort of pans out and we get a verdict and everything moves on from there. I am curious to see how this I am someone who is very interested in sort of pop culture and culture in general. And so I am kind of curious to see how this sort of has, like, what kind of lasting effect this has in terms of, like, culture and that kind of thing. Like, just how long do we see people, how long are people going to be mentioning Luigi Mangione? and that kind of thing. I'm curious to see how much staying power this has, because it still comes up. Like, people still make Luigi Mangione references and jokes and references to like the murder and stuff like that. So I don't know. I am curious. It is fascinating to me. Very fascinating to me, especially as incidences like this happen.
Authorities say a Minnesota man tried to spring Mangione from jail, posing as an FBI agent. That man, now behind bars himself, housed at the very same detention center as Mangione.
All right, Laura Jarrett joins us now live in studio. So, Laura, let's go back to that decision.
Yeah. Like, he gets to meet his hero. Like, that's kind of a feel-good story right there. I don't know. Like, that's just very funny. You tried dressing up as an FBI agent to break out Luigi Mangione from jail. I've said it a lot today, but we are not a serious country. Okay? Honestly, I support him. He had a dream, he had a vision, and he went for it, and I support him in it. Yeah. If he had succeeded, I'm not sure that we would have been worse off. Personally, I don't think that, you know, if Luigi Mangione is like a guilty, allegedly he did it, etc. I don't think he's a danger to the average person. Spicy take, maybe, I don't know, but I don't think he's a danger to the average person. And, you know, whatever. I just don't think he's just saying.
Explain to our viewers here, why did the judge decide they can't seek the death penalty?
Yeah, you might think that a murder charge alone, Tom, would be enough to trigger the death penalty, but because of the...
No, actually, I don't think that. Is that a controversial opinion? I really don't think that should be the case. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know how popular the death penalty is these days. I'm not sure about that in regards to the average person, but yeah.
Law that prosecutors are relying on here, they needed to show another crime, a second crime. It was a crime of violence, and the judges simply found that stalking, which prosecutors were relying on, did not meet that legal definition, a technical definition, Tom.
All right. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News.
This is
Just clicked on something. My bad. Hold on.
Tonight.
Yeah. He should pay his debt to society with a calendar photo shoot and be I agree. Can we get like a Luigi-oni like man of the month calendar photo shoot, you know? I would buy one. They should sell those to like raise even more money for his defense fund. All right.
Mecca.
So I have been, you know, keeping an eye on things happening in Sudan. And things have just gotten even worse. It's especially devastating to hear the experiences of children. And I did talk about how there were children, like literal babies, who were being raped by the RSF, and which is again quite possibly one of the worst things someone can do. So it is very very unfortunate, I suppose, is a simple way to put it, that Western media and Western governments in general have ignored what is happening in Sudan. I mean, this is happening on a fairly large scale, the amount of rape that is occurring and the amount of rape of children that is occurring. And I just think it's very interesting how we live in societies that act like they give a fuck about this shit and then continue to show time and time again that they don't. Like supposed liberal societies that care about these kinds of things that at the end of the day don't take any sort of action to stop them. Even when it comes to things like the fucking Epstein files, just like getting that information out there and that kind of thing, when it should be something that everybody should agree on is important to, address. It just ends up being, it's just like, oh, actually we don't care. Like, we lied. We it was a joke. We made it up. We don't actually give a fuck about the assault of children. Sorry. So, yeah. No, it's yeah, I there's not much else to say about it other than it's just very, it's expected in a lot of ways, but also it is a little bit like, how do you sort of levy this? How do you levy being a society that says you care about the well-being of children, about things like this happening to children and wanting to stop it, and then when it does happen, when it is happening in a massive scale, you do nothing. You don't even talk about it. Like, that's a level of hypocrisy that I don't know how you contend with that, because that's just like, that's like, how do you even address that? I don't know.
Adam Abu Bakr is a refugee from Sudan. She is describing how she saw 4 children kidnapped by paramilitary fighters in Darfur in April last year. In this camp for displaced people near the Chad-Sudan border, Reuters spoke to others who had similar tales to tell. Their accounts about children of all ages being abducted by the Rapid Support Forces and other allied militias reveal a horror of Sudan's civil war that has not been reported by other media. Witnesses also told us that fighters from the Rapid Support Forces took children during their violent takeover of the Sudanese city Al-Fashir late last year. The war, a power struggle between the RSF and the Sudanese army, has killed tens of thousands of people and led to famine and disease. The United Nations describes the humanitarian crisis in Sudan as the largest in the world, and the stories of abduction and enslavement gathered by Reuters may violate international laws and may amount to war crimes and crimes against humanity, legal experts said. Abu Bakr says she fled a refugee camp called Zamzam with a group of other civilians. About 6 miles outside of town, they were stopped. Reuters spoke to 26 witnesses in person or on the phone after they had fled to the North Darfur town of Tawila, or to eastern Chad. In total, they described 23 separate incidents since 2023, where at least 56 children were taken, the youngest 2 months old.
And that is, again, I've said this multiple times, that is only what has been reported. That is only what has been able to be documented. So the number as far as children who have been taken, children who are being assaulted or raped, that number is much higher than what we have. And the numbers that we have are bad enough. I mean, like that, like those are like that's devastating enough. Like they're these, it's just, and again, it's fairly silent on the Western home front, guys. Fairly little knowledge, fairly little discussion about it, fairly little discussion from our government, and of course the UAE is backing the RSF, and that is a whole fucking aspect of this that is it's just not just just fucking great. Just fucking great. It's just I very much struggle with this kind of shit because it's just devastating. I mean, if you don't struggle with this shit, then I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know how you fucking go through life. It's just it is genuinely heartbreaking hearing these stories and knowing that the world is largely disregarding this, and whether that's because of, you know, the UAE's involvement or the involvement of other governments, or whether it's just because it's this sort of it's a black population and they don't really care. It's a genocide. They don't really care about genocide to begin with, as proven by the last couple years. I mean, I do think that if people knew what was happening, if they knew the sort of extent of what is going on, I think that if people heard that, you know, like babies were being raped, that they would have a appropriate reaction to that, you know? Like, I think most people would have a negative reaction to that and want that to stop. There is a sort of I have heard people make this point, and I do unfortunately think that I agree with it. I mean, people smarter than me, people who have more knowledge on this topic than I do, but there is a aspect of having to care about what is happening in Sudan from the sort of goodness of your own heart. Like, there's not as much of a easy line to draw for people directly from their tax dollars to the genocide in Gaza, for example. And without that sort of direct, one could say sort of selfish being affected by it in a way that feels tangible to them, there is a sort of having to appeal to the conscience of people, having to appeal to their empathy. And there is a just general lack of empathy for Black people, for people in Africa, for this population in general. And so it is just very devastating, and for me it is just generally heartbreaking because I don't know how to, like, I don't know how you get people to care about this, you know? I don't know how you get people to talk about this more, to raise awareness about this, and the situation is only getting worse. It's not getting better. So, yeah. Ugh. Yeah. Like, I mean, the children were taken, the youngest was 2 months old. Like, I mean, like that, like these are people. These are people. These are real people. Like, these are real people who are suffering, and nothing is being done. Like, nothing is being done. No one's, like, people aren't even paying attention.
Children who resisted were beaten with guns or held at gunpoint, witnesses said. In some instances, witnesses told us the paramilitary RSF fighters killed the parents first before taking their sons and daughters. In at least 4 cases, witnesses said fighters told them the children would be used as slaves to herd animals. Reuters could not determine how many children have been abducted and could not independently verify the accounts or trace what happened to them. The RSF did not respond to requests for comment about the reported abductions and abuse of minors and killing of their parents. Previously, it has denied deliberately targeting civilians and says it has placed fighters suspected of abuses under investigation.
Which is some Israel shit. Like, that's some Israel shit right there. Oh, we're gonna investigate the people and charge them and hold them accountable internally of our own accord, without, outside involvement. Yeah, we got this. No, don't worry about it. That's straight up some Israel shit. Denying your fucking war crimes, that is also Israel shit. I mean, if I have to link it back to something that makes people, actually make a connection here, like, fine, you hate Israel. This is some Israel shit. Yeah, cause that's what they're doing. They're just fucking lying. Like, shocker, they're lying about their war crimes. Who would have thought? It's almost like people don't want to get caught doing war crimes. I wonder why.
The Sudanese army said the witness accounts were consistent with the behavior of the so-called Janjaweed militias the RSF evolved from. An official from UN Children's Agency UNICEF said,
and that's another thing, like, I can't imagine how fucking devastating, again, I don't have another word to describe it, but how devastating it has to be to have lived through one genocide and then having to experience another like this. Because that is what is happening for a lot of people in Sudan. Like, they lived through the sort of first genocide that the Janjaweed engaged in, and then now that they've become the RSF and have sort of taken up this position, they're doing it again to basically the same populations, and it's just, I don't know. Like, that's devastating to have lived through one and now having to live through another. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
They were consistent with a broader pattern of grave violations against children in Sudan. None of the interviewees saw what happened after the children were taken, but one witness described hearing children crying for their parents at night while he was being held for ransom in the days after al-Fashar fell. Witnesses said the abductions happened.
That's another thing they do. They'll, like, hold people for ransom, and, like, obviously it's kind of, obviously the reporting we have is a little bit, like, touch and go, because there is, like, lack of information coming from the ground and stuff like that, but that is something that the RSF does, is they will, like, take people and hold them for ransom, and if they, I guess, like, if their families can pay, then like, that's an option, but if they can't pay, then obviously they just kind of, like, kill them or enslave them, from what I understand. So, ugh.
In al-Fashar and along the road to Tawila, a town about 30 miles to the west.
Also, we're talking a lot about the RSF here, but I do want to just be clear that the Sudanese armed forces are not, they're not, like, better. They're not, I mean, like, maybe they're not committing a genocide, but they've also committed war crimes and, in my opinion, things that could possibly be considered genocidal acts, but I'm not an expert on that subject.
Where the UN estimates about 650,000 people are sheltering, displaced by the war. Imam Ali said his family fled al-Fashar in March last year and was attacked by RSF fighters southeast of Tawila. The Janjaweed militias were accused of genocide in Darfur in the early 2000s. During that conflict, the militias abducted children and forced them to do domestic work, look after livestock, or work as sex slaves, activists and human rights groups said at the time. Fatima Yahya says she fled Nyala, the capital of South Darfur, in October 2023, and was stopped by a group of RSF fighters in a village called Karamaje on the way to Al Fashir.
من كرمجة هنا في أسر معانا يعني شالوا الأطفال 3 طفل ده شالوهم قدام ودوهم ركبوهم في عربية يعني عربية قافلة في دعامي وجاي وفي دعامي جاي ركبوهم في النص هم شبابهم للآن ما عارفين محلهم.
Also, even I don't even know the chances of being reunited with family members who you've been separated from, even if you survive this and things sort of, come to an end. I don't know what the odds are that you're able to reunite with these children who have been taken. I don't know what methods you have for that. I imagine that there aren't many, but that's assuming that everything even ends in people, live to see the end of it, which a lot of people are not. But yeah. Yeah. Um goddamn. Um I have another video that we can look at, and then we will get to the Cenk on Tucker Carlson. I don't know. I don't want to watch the whole 2 hours of that, so I don't know what we're gonna do with that. I guess we'll figure out when we get there. Give me a
Now to Sudan, where the army says it's broken a siege by paramilitary rapid support forces in South Kordofan state. The army says it's cleared RSF fighters from the road to Dilling. The city lies halfway between the besieged state capital of Kadugli and the city of El Abeid. That's the capital of neighbouring North Kordofan, which the RSF has sought to encircle. A UN-backed assessment last year confirmed a famine in Kadugli, which has been under RSF siege for more than a year and a half. And the Sudanese army says that their soldiers are now able to unite allied forces in Dilling. It also says the RSF suffered heavy losses for the battle for the city. And the army and the RSF have been battling for control of Sudan during nearly 3 years of war. The Kordofan region has seen some of the heaviest fighting in recent months. Now joining us from Washington, D.C. is Cameron Hudson. He's a former Director of African Affairs at the National Security Council at the White House. You have had a lot of time, you've spent a lot of time in Sudan. Is any of this that's happening right now coming as a surprise to you?
Well, no, I think we have seen for the 3 years that this war has been going on, nearly 3 years, shifts in momentum every few months. So there's nothing new in the shift in momentum that we are seeing right now. This victory from the army side and their joint forces, partners in this fight. But a few months ago, we saw the army losing Al Fashir. We saw them losing parts of Kordofan. So this has been, I think, the kind of the operational tempo that we have seen over the course of this war, which has made it so difficult to resolve, because at each turn, each side thinks that they are capable of winning the war. And so when they're on their back foot, they somehow get a new momentum in their sails and carry that forward and push past any of the peace negotiations that might be on the horizon, thinking that they can achieve total victory for themselves.
But that idea of total victory is almost impossible in this particular scenario because of the fact that there are peace negotiations.
I'm just not sure how viable peace negotiations are as long as you have outside forces engage Like, I mean, like, we can talk about peace negotiations, I guess, but, like, as long as you have the UAE profiting off of this situation, I don't really know what peace negotiations, I guess. I don't know. I will fully admit I am not an expert necessarily in these topics. I am just a person doing my best. But I don't necessarily think it's I don't necessarily see the sort of direction that peace negotiations can go in, with that being being an aspect still, like with the involvement of the UAE and that kind of thing. So I don't know, but it doesn't seem super viable, I guess, or hopeful.
Going on, but those peace negotiations are going on with other countries as well. And there seemed to be, certainly just a few weeks ago, the idea that there was going to be a ceasefire, and then people were going to, the RSF and the Sudanese army were going to fall back to their original positions. Where's the international community and the backers of the RSF and the backers of the Sudanese army in all of this? Are they still talking?
Well, they are still talking. I think what we know is going on in the background is that, led by the United States, there seems to be a mediation, but that mediation is among the regional states that are backing one side or the other in this war. It's not actually a mediation between the two armed belligerents. It's between the UAE and Saudi Arabia and Egypt.
See, like, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I do think that you got to do both, right? You got to do both. Like, you can't just do one or the other. Like, you gotta, like, yeah, I do think that you have to involve, obviously, the UAE, unfortunately, and that kind of thing, but you also do need to, like, deal with the situation on the ground, I guess, but I don't know. It's just I do think that that there needs to be more attention on this in general from just the international community in total. But Trump keeps trying to say that he's doing something, so we'll see. Hey, if he manages to stop this shit, I'll give it to him. Like, I will fully give him that W. I'm not against it. If he manages to put a stop to it, sure, fuck it. Way to go, Trump. But, like, actually do it. Put a stop to it. And I'll give you that W. I'll give you your props. We'll have a party. We'll have a pizza party for you, man.
And even others beyond that, right? And so I think that that mediation has to happen first, because we have seen in the last few weeks a very heated competition playing out among these regional backers for one side or the other. We know that that both sides in this war are being armed, they're being supplied, they're creating new bases, they're buying new weapons, they have new financing to continue this war. And so unless those backers to this war are not able to reach an agreement among themselves about pulling back their support to either side in this conflict, then I think we're not going to see any real ceasefire effort take hold on the ground.
Now, Cameron, war is often about inches, miles, kilometers. It's about pushing forward and taking territory, sometimes about taking that territory and retreating that territory. Just take us through the importance of the fact that they've broken the siege, the military has broken the siege against the RSF in South Kordofan state. Is that actually a big deal?
Well, it is a big deal. It's a big deal because it shows the capability of the Army and the Joint Forces. It shows that the Rapid Support Forces and their allies with the Sudan People's Liberation Army and the northern wing of that have not been able to hold a very strategic area. This opens up new areas for the Army to take control of, whether that's Kadugli, whether it's to secure, their hold on El Obeid, which is perhaps the most strategic city in all of the Kordofan region. This is an important victory for the Army. The reports that this assault on Dilling by the Rapid Support Forces perhaps came from outside of Sudan, from South Sudan, or from Ethiopia, which seems to be getting more involved in this conflict, I think is another indication that we're seeing the war spread. And if the SAF, the Army of Sudan, can hold this territory and keep these forces at bay, then it has a possibility, I think, to make real progress in this war, but also to put pressure on the parties to concede at the negotiating table, which I think is their ultimate objective.
Cameron Hudson, thank you so much for your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, yeah. More attention. Needs more attention. Again, if Donald Trump can stop it, I will give him the props. I mean, I do think that ultimately it is going to probably take something like fucking stupid ass American intervention or whatever to do something here. I hope that's not what it takes, because I don't think that's gonna be a great situation. But I also think that the raping of babies needs to stop. And the kidnapping of children needs to stop. And the general just awfulness needs to stop. So yeah. Yeah. All right. I've put it off long enough. I have put it off long enough. I'm going to put this shit on why does it say subtitles in Hindi? What the fuck? Wait, are they actually in Hindi?
Good to see you, Cenk.
Why did it just default to Hindi subtitle? I didn't put it on that. I'll take the English auto-generated, I guess, my friend. Bro, also, I love these options. Hindi, Russian, and Spanish. Russian makes sense, I guess. It's Tucker Carlson. But LOL. I'm gonna put this shit on 1.3. That might be a little fast. I'd like to put it on faster, to be honest with you, but yeah. And I will probably be skipping parts that I think are boring, just to put it out there. I am not sitting through 2.5 hours of this. I don't think you want to sit through 2.5 hours of this. And it's after midnight where I'm at, so I would like to possibly go to sleep at a reasonable hour. So yeah, we're just gonna go through this a little bit, see what we got. They have some, I guess they talked about 9/11, JFK, Epstein, Israel makes sense, and yeah, so why Cenk said yes to this conversation. I am curious to hear why he said yes. I mean, I don't really need him to tell me why he said yes. It's Cenk. He's been talking Tucker Carlson up for months now. He's Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Those have been his big, his big right-wing sort of tethers that he has latched himself onto. I will go into this with as open of a mind as possible. I'll hear Jank out. I'll hear him and Tucker out. I will admit I am fully biased against both of these figures at this point, but I'm willing to hear out their whole "we can get a beer together" narrative. Because do you think they got a beer after this? They have to, right? They can't do this and not get a beer together after this. That's the whole point. Is that they can argue and get a beer afterwards. Jank, I hope you got that beer. Hope it was worth it, brother.
Good to see you, Tucker.
I haven't seen you since we had a debate years ago, I think, at Politicon. Totally different world. But I was thinking this morning as I was driving in, I'm like, of all the things you could do to infuriate your audience, this is probably at the top of the list. Like, you don't need to do this. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. So there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, I want to take yes for an answer. You're anti-war. We've been anti-war for 20 years. So
I have not been. So bless you for that.
Thank you, brother, and welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
See, okay. Like, okay, but like that's the thing, right? He's like, I have not been. Now, can someone change their mind? Yes. Can someone also just have a lack of conviction and be wishy-washy and go whichever way is convenient to them? Yes. And I unfortunately think Tucker Carlson is more of the latter than he is the former. I don't think this is him just changing his mind on war or anything like that. I think that this is him seeing which way the wind blows, reading the room, and going in that direction. But I will hear them out. I'll give them a chance. I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical of Tucker Carlson for obvious reasons.
And so that's amazing. That's important. And I also want to break down the barriers of Republicans versus Democrats, right wing versus left wing. I think that it's kind of used to divide us. And I think that the powerful already have an incredible elite team. They're very, very organized, and they do it through donations to the politicians, et cetera.
Yes.
But the American people are not organized. We have built two teams, but those two teams, the Republicans and the Democrats, have been trained to fight each other instead of fighting up. Right.
Exactly.
And so when you split the population that way, you take away all of their energy because you have
Like, what does Tucker Carlson think is up? Because I don't think he thinks it's capital. I don't even know if Jank thinks it's capital anymore. Like, does he think it's the billionaire class? Like, I don't think he does. I don't think Tucker Carlson, when you say we're not looking upward, we're not, fighting upward, I don't know that he's thinking, like taxing the rich. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe Tucker Carlson is, he truly evolved. Maybe he's turned over a new leaf. He's taken on an entirely new perspective on the world. But I doubt it.
them use their energy against one another rather than against you. It's actually brilliant.
That's how the British ruled India.
Exactly, right?
Yes.
And it's done on a meta level in every way. Also, by the way, on a global level, Christians versus Muslims. 2 billion here, 2 billion there. Make sure you guys are fighting one another. And hey, look at that. We've used up all your energy fighting one another and not looking up.
I've noticed, yeah.
Okay. So, and then of course, the third issue is Israel. And so that's what I want to talk to you a lot about today, I hope. And I think that that's an animating issue for a number of reasons, not because it's the end all be all, but because it is deeply symbolic. And so whether it's Big Pharma or Big Oil or AIPAC, they are buying our politicians. And so you're a rare person saying that. I'm a person saying that. And the mainstream media works against us, and they try to shut us up and say, shh, don't tell anybody about money in politics.
Yes.
No, these politicians are honest and honorable people having debates. They're not having any debates. They're cashing checks. And so I want all of America to know that. And at the end of the day, Tucker, if we don't unite as Americans, the powerful are going to rule us forever.
I think that is absolutely true. So let's just start with motive. I hate going to motive because we don't even know our own motives a lot of the time, right? Motive is very hard to determine. But when this topic comes up, people go immediately to motive. You're taking money from somebody, a foreign power. Okay. You've got some secret religious affiliation. You're filled with hate. It's all about why you have these views rather than addressing the views themselves. I've just noticed this. having lived it. And so I just want to ask you about Israel specifically. How did you come to this, and what are your motives?
Yeah. So it's a difficult one for me because I grew up in a town that was about 50% Jewish. So I have tons of Jewish friends. I have Jewish family. I have a nephew and niece who are Jewish.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to make people uncomfortable, and I don't want this to be about the Jews. That's crazy. And what I tell people all the time is, hey, listen, I like my friend Dave, my friend Jack, Mossad never called them and asked permission, right? Netanyahu was never like, hey, should we take 53% of Gaza? What do you think, Dave? Right? So that's not how it works. So anyone who's got that intent, I'm not interested in. Okay. You're not going to have me as an ally. It's not going to work out. I have Jewish family. I have Jewish friends. I'll never sell them out. Okay.
Right.
So, but other thing about Jewish Americans is they're Americans, and I believe in a united America. Okay.
Yes.
So you're for America. I love you and I protect you. I'll give you one last example, although I can give you thousands, right? But Dave Smith is an amazing ally of ours.
A wonderful man.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
It's just everything about Tucker Carlson is so disingenuous, man. I just, every time he opens his mouth, I just feel like he's not being genuine. I really do. Like, Cenk's talking up a storm here. He's doing his best. He's doing his pitch, but and Tucker's nodding along. He's doing his thing. He's gonna play like he's gonna like if we really like just peeled back the layer just a bit, just scratch the surface a tiny little bit on like their beliefs and stuff. This whole relationship starts to fall apart. This whole connection starts to fall apart because you peel back the curtain a little bit, and there are some very strong disagreements that I imagine people on the left have with Tucker Carlson. I don't necessarily know if Cenk has strong disagreements with Tucker Carlson anymore, but the people on the left that he is wanting to unite with or accept Tucker Carlson, they have strong disagreements, and they're not necessarily willing to let go of those disagreements. So I think it's easy to watch this and be like, oh, it's great to see two people from different sides agreeing with each other, but we can agree on some things, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we can unite for a common cause and work towards things. Like, yeah, we can work towards maybe I don't think that, like, it's easy to say we want to look up, we want to, not be divided, we want to team up and like take on the powerful people. But does Tucker Carlson agree with me on who the powerful people are? Like, who the people who need to be sort of targeted, who need to be dealt with or whatever? Like, does he agree with me on who those people are? Because I think that's, the wealthy. I think that's people who with way too much money, like billionaires and shit like that. I don't know that he thinks that shit. I think that he probably doesn't think that shit. I don't know who he thinks the powerful elite are that need to be dealt with, but I don't think it's the same fucking people that I do. Or that I think it is. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a great show to put on. It's really easy to put on this sort of we're coming together, we're gonna have a beer afterwards act, but if we were to dig a little deeper and start actually discussing our views and discussing what we want to work towards, or what we want to like represent, I do think it would quickly fall apart. It would quickly get to the point where we would reach things that we can't agree on. And so I don't know, like, is it possible to work with people on certain topics and certain aspects? I think so. Yeah, I do think that there are times where you can come together with people you don't agree with. I do think that is possible. But I also think that a lot of the time coming together with people on the right involves dismissing certain people or certain groups. And I think an easy one to use is trans people, for example. Like I don't want to compromise with the right if it means disregarding my trans friends, you know, or just trans people in general. Like I don't want to do that. I don't think that's a worthy trade. Like, oh, okay, we agree that we shouldn't go to war, but you want me to sort of disregard trans people in order to work with you on this issue. Like I don't want to do that. If you're going to ask me to do that, I'm going to say fuck you.
You come for Dave, you come for all of us. He's one of us, okay? We protect our own Americans, okay? So now, why do I have an issue with Israel then? Even though I would actually naturally want to ally with Israel, given all the Jewish friends and family that I have, right? And I didn't know a lot of Palestinians growing up. I only knew one Palestinian. We had one in our high school.
Okay, I'm going to be real with you. This is kind of a weird way to put this, Cenk, but I'll let you cook. I should naturally want to support Israel because I know a lot of Jewish people and I didn't know any Palestinians. Like I get what he's trying to say, I guess, but it does just seem like a weird way to have phrased this. Probably could have worded this a little bit better, a little bit less awkwardly. But that's interesting. That is interesting to me. That he, because is Cenk not Muslim? Like not saying that you have to have like not saying that you have to have any sort of allegiance here, but like I personally would think in that scenario I would more than likely default to something that is more personal to me as opposed to just people I am friends with, if that makes sense. Like, because in this scenario that he has made, he's saying, I only knew one Palestinian and I knew a lot of Jewish people, so I should want to support Israel, right? Like, that's what he's saying. But if Cenk is Muslim, I would assume that you would go with the more personal connection that you have, which would be possibly that the like more of like the Muslim connection. But that's very, very tiny and very silly, and I'm just kind of poking and prodding at what he's saying right now. But I did just think that was like a funny way to word that. So I don't know. Interesting, Cenk. Interesting person you are. How your brain works is oh so fascinating.
Hundreds of Jewish folks who loved Israel, etc. Right? The problem with Israel isn't just the genocide that they just committed, but that would be enough. That is a horrific injustice
in Gaza.
In Gaza, I mean, you've got well over 70,000 dead. You've got God knows how many thousands buried in the rubble, and they're adding to the count every day. You've got 10% of the entire population that was either killed or injured, which is a stunning number. That's why almost every genocide scholar says it's obviously a genocide, right?
10% of the entire population?
Yes, either killed or injured. Okay.
So that'd be over 200,000.
Yes, that's right. Because the amount injured are well over 130,000. Okay.
But just to be clear on that, like that's a number that we should know, I think, since we paid for it. And I think it's so important to know what death tolls and the injury count is because you did this and you have to know what the consequences are. I think it's totally fair. We don't know in the Russia-Ukraine war. We have no idea. And we have no idea in Gaza. And so I just want to say that there are estimates that it's over 500,000. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the point. We should know that.
Yeah,
we have a right to know that.
So Tucker, that's going to go to points 2 and 3, which
Sorry, I could just erupted with him. He started erupting.
No, not at all, not at all. But I want to come back to that because 2 and 3 are super important because it's symbolic of the power that all the donor class has, not just Israel. But also with Israel, you have gaslighting that is extreme, where you don't have that in any other.
Can you explain what that is?
So you'll say, "Hey, I don't."
Like Tucker is very good at pretending like he's engaged and genuine, and I do think that tricks a lot of people because I don't think he's very genuine. Again, like we may be on the same page in some regards, but I don't think we're on the same page enough to make progress, Tucker. Like that is my issue. Like, yes, I do think that we are possibly in agreement. In agreement? Wow. I do think we are possibly in agreement when it comes to certain things, but I don't think that we are agreeing on enough things to actually make progress in any significant way. So I guess that's my issue with Cenk's whole get a beer with them thing. It's like, yeah, there's a few topics here and there that we can, go, yeah, that's cool. I get you on. But very quickly, this allegiance starts to fall apart. Very quickly, it starts to unravel. And if we can make progress on one issue, fine, that's great. If we can just focus on that one issue, that's cool. But it usually doesn't stop at the one issue, and usually it branches out into other things that we don't agree on. So, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, I guess, but yeah, so this is the part, wow. This part is about Israel and specifically Gaza. I am interested in God, there's a lot. Like I don't think I want to hear them talk about the dangers of identity politics. I'll probably skip that part. I think I'm good on that.
Think we should give Israel another $30 billion or another $100 billion. And I want to get into all these numbers in a second, right? And they'll say anti-Semite. Now, so wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Like, we could Mad Lib this, right? You take any Israeli talking point and put in a different country, and it sounds absurd, right?
Yeah.
Like, you owe Thailand $300 billion. People will be like, well, no, we don't. Anti-Thai racist, right? You're like, what? I don't even know any Thai people. What are you talking about? You're an anti-Thaiist, right? No, I'm not, right?
Why do you hate Thailand?
Exactly, but
you're obsessed with Thailand. That's my favorite. You're obsessed with Thailand. Okay.
Well, by the way, I would be obsessed with Thailand if Thailand took $300 billion off of us, right? And if Thailand was like, you have to attack everyone else in Southeast Asia. We have a Thai Christian heritage.
Yeah.
And imagine if India did that. And they're like, we have a Hindu Christian heritage, and that's why you need to attack Pakistan.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're not for attacking Pakistan, you're clearly being paid by Bhutan.
Yeah, of course.
People who are working for a foreign government accusing you, who just want to stay out of it, of working for a foreign government. Is that what gaslighting is?
Yeah, gaslighting is when the media take something very reasonable.
Like, these are the parts that really resonate with people, right? Oh, God. Hold on. Hold on here. Oh my God, I can't tell. It keeps saying that, like, my YouTube's yelling at me, but I can't tell like what the issue is. All right, well, hold on. Maybe this way? Ah, there we go. Okay. I'll have to deal with that later. That's a problem for a later me to deal with. Oh God, now I fucked it up. Okay, well.
You're saying, and makes it sound like it's crazy. Like, so we said we gave them.
What I was saying was, this is the part that like resonates with people. They kind of like hear Cenk or they hear like someone say these things, and like it's like Candace does it too, right? Where they have like the grain of truth, and like Cenk is being honest here, like he's being genuine here, and there's just like Like, this is what like the normal person, the average person, like sort of resonates with, because they also think this. They also have these same sort of opinions. And then yeah, I think so. I think it got fucking nuked. I'm not sure what it was for though. They got us, boys. Yeah. But how you been? It's been a minute. I'm trying to get this stupid thing back in here. No, I can't. Okay. Here we go. There. Still not working. Okay, I'll fix it later. I'm being ridiculous. I'll fix it later. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. People resonate with this. They think it's like, they're like, yeah, no, I agree with you. And it's just like, and then they kind of like lean into like other things, but so like we'll see where this conversation goes. But like this is the part where people kind of like, where it's like where they get the sort of good, like, yeah, I agree with what Cenk's saying here. Like, I like Cenk is right. Like he's oh, flu, that's no good. Yeah. Yeah, so like I like I'm hesitant because like people like Candace do this too, where they say stuff that has like the grain of truth in it, and then they kind of take it in a weird direction. So I imagine Tucker might try and take this in a weird direction, but we'll see. I'm trying to be as fair as I can be. Obviously, I'm very biased, so it's a little hard, but I'm trying.
$21.7 billion in the middle of a genocide. Okay. So that's on top of the 300 billion, right? And that's, by the way, 10 to 12 billion we spent bombing Iran, Yemen, and almost all their enemies in the same period of time. We just gave them another 8.6 billion and another 3.3 billion. That happened in the last 2 weeks. So when you say, let's just take one sliver of that. Hey, I didn't want to pay for a genocide. I didn't want to do that, right? Whether it was the Thai, the Bulgarians, the Israelis, I don't want to kill 20,000 children. I don't want you to spend my money killing 20,000 children. I don't care what race or religion they are.
Why are you so hateful?
Exactly. And that's literally what they say.
No, I'm against killing kids. They didn't do anything, actually.
Yeah. And they say, so you hate Jews. That's gaslighting, right? Okay. Right? That's...
No, I really should, but I mean, I don't trust Tucker. I don't trust Tucker, and I mean, at this point, I don't really trust Cenk. Look, Cenk lost me full on, I think, when he was like, I'm a capitalist, and just kind of vibed with that. And it's like, awesome, Cenk. That's awesome. So at that point, I just kind of, he's there. He's doing whatever. But I really don't trust Tucker. Like, I really don't trust Tucker. I think Tucker is very, very disingenuous. So, ooh.
So wait.
I live in that country. Yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah. So I'm the one.
Okay. I don't know what it is. I think I'm going to keep getting fucking blocked here because I don't know what. Yeah, Cenk's lost me. Like, he's lost me. He's lost me. Yeah. I think it might be Tucker Carlson. I think it might be Tucker blocking the fucking shit. Yeah, I think so too. Tucker. See, this is why I don't trust Tucker. God damn it, Tucker Carlson. Look at you. You're ruining everything. They did have a conversation.
Now to Sudan.
Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Let's see. Cause I do think it's that video. I will have to take a look at that later. See if there's anything.
This week,
Okay. Well, honestly, that's fine. Honestly, that's fine because I really don't want to watch this whole thing anyways. But I do think it is. I do think it is this video. Tucker Carlson. This is why I don't trust Tucker Carlson. I'm telling you, he's not a good person. Like, come on, dude. What are you doing? I think they are, yeah. 100%. Tucker Carlson can't take it. He can't take people reacting to his videos. He's a coward. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He's a coward for other reasons, though. All right. Well, shit. I'm not sure what to do about that. Not a whole lot I can do about that. I will take a look at this off stream and maybe give my thoughts on it. He sent Cenk to do it. Yeah, I'll take a look at this off stream and maybe take a look. But let's see. We might be able to hold on. We might be able to watch the. Because I think TYT uploaded. So we might be able to watch. Let's see.
Now, in the last 2 weeks, Trump gave another 8.6.
Let's see. Let's try this a little bit. This is only like 20 minutes, so he sent Cenk to do it. No, yeah. Okay, let's see if we have better luck with this. Let's see if we have better luck with this.
$6 billion, totally unaccounted. Where's that $8.6 billion coming from? Did anybody ever vote for that $8.6 billion? And then unabated, he gave another $3.3 billion. Where is this money coming from? Is anybody voting on this? What is going on?
Well, these are IOUs to countries that are buying our treasuries.
Exactly.
All right, so that was Cenk. And Cenk, you just sat down with Tucker Carlson for nearly a 2.5-hour interview, which is very impressive, and kudos to you for getting through that. Let's give you, what are your 2 cents before we get to some of the clips?
Yeah, so what I want people to look out for in this interview, and we're going to show you some of the clips right now, is, yeah, one is the issue of American sovereignty in Israel and what we're doing with it. The other is that the whole idea of red versus blue, Republican versus Democrat is a mirage, is an illusion to get us to fight each other so we don't focus on the powerful people in this country who actually rule us. So I want you to pay attention to all that. And at the end, we're going to show you, we're going to share with you guys an analogy that I did that Tucker really loved. It's a little bit controversial, but you'll see that at the end.
Yeah, it is a fun analogy, I will say. But before we get to your analogy, here is a clip of you, Cenk, calling out Trump's deference to his pro-Israel donors.
One of the things they wanted was taxes and other interests and defeat the unions and their casinos and all the things, their wish list. But the main thing they wanted was for Israel. And Trump says it all the time. He doesn't hide it at all. He says.
Okay. I give up. It's done. We're 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 done. You got me. You got it. You got me. You win. He literally wants to deport you. No, right? Like, it's so fucking stupid. I think I will have to look at this off stream because I think it's blocked me again. Let's see. Yeah, maybe we can try that.
Send it to Knesset.
We can try the Vanguard vid. I haven't seen it yet, so we can give that a try.
Can we play that one more time? I just need to make sure I heard that correctly. Can we just play that one?
Okay, I could turn it off of 1.3 speed. Take it to like 1.2, 1.2. Let's do 1.2. Are we good? Can you hear me? Are we back? Are we back? Can't tell. Free me from my prison. Come on. Look, I've stopped playing it. I don't know. They might have duped me for good this time. Are we back? I can't tell. Are we back? Are we back? I'm gonna hope we're back. We're gonna try we are gonna try watching the Vanguard video, see. Give that a go. Awesome. Cool. Alright. This is my last attempt. If we get blocked again, I'm giving up. If we get blocked here, that's it. Tucker wins. Cenk wins. Peace and love on earth. Centrism has won. If we get blocked again, centrism has won, and the mythical moderate is real. Cenk wins. I'll concede. Yeah.
One more time. I need to hear what Cenk said. I need to hear it one more time. What he said about Venezuela.
Our military is amazing, best in the world, best that's ever been created, right?
Yep.
So that was an amazing mission that they did in Venezuela and an amazing one they did in Iran.
Okay, I should just like wait until we actually get to the part, but holy fuck. Did he actually say that shit? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Got the invite. He entered the shack in Maine to talk to Tucker, and I thought that it was definitely better and more substantive than when Anna went on Bill Maher. As we talked about and reacted to, Anna spent about 60% of that episode just engaging in culture war nonsense with Bill Maher. Talking about trans people in the locker room and all.
Right? Like, come on.
This kind of crap. Luckily, Cenk and Tucker didn't get too weighed down by a bunch of just straight up like culture war nonsense in that way. They did spend most of the conversation kind of talking about more substantive issues like Israel and stuff like that, but there's still a number of really embarrassing timestamps where, in my opinion, both Cenk and Tucker just totally humiliate themselves, that I'm excited to get your reaction to, Zach.
Dude, hell yeah, I'm excited to watch.
Scariest thing I've ever seen.
They're going for full intimidation, right?
But why?
Because they lost the American people. We're gone. So look, I mean, look, Tucker, you're arguably the biggest show in the right wing, right? And you certainly were on Fox, and you have the numbers to back it up now, right? We're arguably the biggest show on the left. You could argue that it's the heads of the families getting together on behalf of the American people, saying the right and the left. And then, by the way, we can bring in any independents.
The heads of the families getting together. Sir. 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 Huh? Wait, what? Cenk is so funny sometimes. This is almost as funny as him ending his denial of the Armenian genocide and like fucking that he wrote in like fucking college or whatever with ending it with literally just debate me. Like let's debate this in the marketplace of ideas. No, it's insane. Like I don't know who Cenk thinks he is. I really don't know who Cenk thinks he is at this point. I don't like I only watch TYT randomly occasionally for like either for like a video or something or for, usually just to like react to what they're saying. I don't really know anybody who actively watches TYT at this point. Yeah. Like I don't know anyone who actually watches TYT at this point. He did apologize for that though. He did, yes. He did. I fully recognize that he did apologize for that, and he has seemingly realized that his former opinion on the Armenian genocide was wrong. But it was just very funny that he ended that article with debate me. Let's debate this in the marketplace of ideas. he literally says the marketplace of ideas like in that fucking sentence. It's so funny. But yeah. He did apologize. I fully recognize that, yes. And kudos to him for doing so. Kudos to him for, realizing that he had been taught wrong information and unpacking that. I think that is genuinely one of the better things that Cenk has done.
You bring in Tim Dillon, anyone else.
What?
They will say the same thing. Enough.
The meeting of the families. I knew as a big fan of mafia movies and The Sopranos, you would get a huge kick out of that.
Dude, this is hysterical.
Like he really thinks he's the mafia. Like he really thinks he's like the fucking Don or whatever. Like Cenk thinks he's the Don of the left. Meanwhile, he continuously tries to like shit on people further to the left of him. What the fuck is that about? He's out here acting like he's the fucking mafia Don of the left, but he continuously takes shots at people to the left of him. He continuously beefs with people on the left. Like he has alienated himself from a large portion of the left. How are you the fucking mob boss here, brother? People don't fuck with you. People don't follow you. They don't like they're not like following you in the fucking battle, bro. They're not taking their orders from you. They're not taking their cues from you. How are you the mob boss? He does think longevity means something. But that only means something if you've managed to actually maintain your relevance. If you've managed to maintain your status in this space. If you've managed to maintain the trust with the audience, which Cenk has not done at all. Like, he's not managed to maintain any of those things. So he does just think that, like, he's been here the longest, so he's obviously the most. He thinks he thinks this is a seniority position, as opposed to a position that is based on like how many people are actually listening and paying attention to you. Yeah, it's not. You don't get to be this. You don't get to be in this position just by being the person that's been here the longest, Cenk. I apologize for that, but that's not how this works.
Cool. Cenk, if there was a meeting of the 5 families, it would have been 2 years ago to put a bullet in the back of your fucking head, dude. It would have been the Midas Touch brothers rolling in, and they would have said, hey, bro, everything from Culver City to the coast is ours now, buddy. Pack it up and go to Nashville or wherever the fuck, Austin, Texas, you want to go, because it is not for you no more, pal. Like, laughable. So laughable, delusional, okay? And let's just call it what it is. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Tucker Carlson knows what Cenk's numbers are. That's why the first person he called to have on the fucking show was Anna Kasparian. He was like, let me at least have the hot chick on, right? Let my audience will like that. I don't care about this old guy. He says he built a media conglomerate. He never mentions he ran it into the fucking ground, okay? Yeah, you have 6 million.
Like, I do think there are still a significant amount of people who fuck with TYT. I mean, hold on. Like, how's their channel doing? Because it kind of varies, but I mean, 6 million subscribers. They get like the Tucker Carlson one got like 150K. The Epstein one got almost 500,000. So like when there's like a big topic and people are tuning in, they do all right. I mean, I'd say maybe not like super good for a channel with 6 million subscribers, and I don't know what their like membership and stuff like that looks like, but they also have like other channels too. So I don't know. I do think at this point that TYT has possibly downsized enough to maintain itself at this sort of who needs 100K views when you have Polymarket. Yeah, I do think they've kind of downsized enough as well to possibly be able to maintain themselves a little bit better. Can you substitute cabbage if you ran out of lettuce for a bit? Are you genuinely asking, or is this like a reference to something? Because I'm not sure. I think it probably depends on like what you're doing with it. Because I would not cook lettuce like I cook cabbage. If that makes sense. But yeah. I do think that they've sort of managed to BLT, aka bacon, lettuce, and tomato. I think cabbage would probably be fine in that scenario. I'm not sure 100%, but yeah, I think cabbage would probably be all right in that scenario. There are probably worse things you could replace it with.
Subscribers. Yeah, and none of them fucking click on your videos, dog. That's an embarrassing indictment of you. Nobody cares about you. That's hysterical, bro.
I know it's genuinely hysterical. Calling himself the biggest show on the left, calling TYT the biggest show on the left. Like I would never downplay the influence, the trailblazing, the lane that TYT helped create on the internet. Like that's not something I'll ever do. I 100% acknowledge how influential the Young Turks was in its heyday, and the fact that it paved a lot of the lanes for a bunch of other shows now. But it is not by any metric the biggest left-wing show. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I'm pretty sure like Brian Tyler Cohen gets more views than the Young Turks do at this point.
So
I
does
think
Pac-Man.
Like, I mean, his own, like his Hasan gets more views. His own nephew gets more views. Like, I mean, many people will get more views than TYT does at this point. If we're just going by views, if we're just going by, you know, who's being watched, it's not TYT. Except when, you know, there's like a big news story, and then I imagine they get probably more of the more casual audience again coming in. I suspect that is what is happening. When there's like a big news story like Epstein files or whatever, I suspect they are getting people who are subscribed to TYT but don't watch frequently and probably aren't keeping up with the news through like many other avenues, if any at all. So, yeah. There's only asparagus, celery, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. Yeah, Pac-Man probably gets more views for sure. I don't know. Yeah, cabbage is probably your best bet on that scenario. I'd say that or celery, but celery might be a bit ambitious. I don't know how you would make that work.
On some videos, Pac-Man's a little hit or miss, but you're right. Probably at his highs, they're
Before the election, definitely.
right. Hasan also, I think, is at least on the same level, if not significantly bigger than the Young Turks. I mean, the Young Turks never has even like not even a third or a fourth of as many live viewers as Hasan can easily pull, as he proved yesterday. How many people did you say were watching live? Like 100,000 or whatever?
Over 100,000. And like even David Pac-Man, who I see has fallen off, in the last one day, he has a video with 546,000 views, 316,000 views.
Tell me why he needs all that dark money then from Chorus if he's getting that kind of fucking views. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mean, TYT doesn't ever get more than like they'll usually go live to like 3,000 to 5,000 people, like double what the Vanguard gets. Again, Hasan was live yesterday.
Okay, I'm gonna skip some of this chatter because it is getting very late here, and they're just doing what I just did, which is checking views. Glad to know we're all on that same toxic view train. I love how we all heard Cenk say, "I'm like the biggest fucking channel out here," and everyone went, "Bet." like everyone heard him say that shit and went, "Wait a minute." Let me double check that. Let me be sure. Are you sure, Cenk? Are you sure? Hasan probably stays away from YouTube to save his uncle. I don't know how much longer that's going to last. He's talking about possibly streaming on YouTube now. So, who knows? But yeah, he meant oldest. He did mean oldest. He really did. Like that is just 100%. Again, he thinks this is a seniority position and not something that comes with, you know, people actually having to care about your output and wanting to engage with your output. He thinks this is something that comes from just being around the longest, which I do think is worth mentioning. Like, I do think it's impressive that TYT has managed to stay at the level that it has for as long as it has, especially given sort of the past couple years and how much people have become sort of pissed off with TYT. I do think it's impressive, but he's getting view bogged by his by his own nephew. No, he's mogging him. He's mogging him 100%. It's embarrassing. It's tragic. It truly is. especially given that it shouldn't be the case. Like obviously, whatever happens. But if we're just going from like jank TYT has been around for as long as it has, if it had kept growing, if it had kept, growing as a network, growing in views, growing in viewers, then they would be far surpassing Hasan, like they should be. If that had been the natural progression of things, if that had been how things had gone, like best case scenario. But obviously that's not how things went, and now we have like, ooh. Yeah, I could definitely see that being something that takes views from TYT for sure if Hasan were to start streaming on Twitch like more like regularly and stuff, like, I mean, streaming on YouTube regularly. I could see that for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, yeah. I do think that a lot of people who are with TYT at this point have probably weathered the storm. Like you gotta be committed, I think, to have made it through like the Poly Market Studio shit and to be there now. I think you gotta be a real TYT fan, which I honestly was unaware that existed.
It's succinct, which is again not really always what I'm in the mood for, but sometimes I do think that's what people are looking for. They're like, I don't want to sit here and listen to 5 hours of Silly and Billy. Zach, I know this is weird, but I want to quickly watch this timestamp from a recent Piers Morgan episode featuring Jeremy Boring, who was used to be with the Daily Wire. Him and Ben Shapiro kind of split up. They divorced.
He was the guy that lost the money making movies.
Yes. Although I don't really understand this. Maybe Chad can clear it up. Maybe Zach, but he left the Daily Wire over the movies and all of the entertainment that lost the company all this money. But here he is on Piers Morgan to promote this stupid off into crazy culture war nonsense as much as I feared. But this did blow my mind, and I'm interested in your opinion on what Cenk is about to say here, because again, I was not expecting this level of bizarre praise for American militarism.
A lot of powerful forces don't want it to happen, but that's what is being described is a totally new arrangement. See.
Yeah. So look, my sense of it is when you go and you attack other countries, our military is amazing, best in the world, best that's ever been created, right?
Yep.
So that was an amazing mission that they did in Venezuela.
Best that's ever been created. Oh my god. I just I hate this so much, actually. Like this is up there with one of the worst things he's said in a minute, bro.
An amazing one they did in Iran, but you do 3 or 4 of those and you're going to get burned because it's just a matter of chances.
I think that's right. And yeah, it's just rolling dice. No, I agree with everything that you said. And
Whoa, can we play that one more time? I just need to make sure I heard that correctly. Can we just play that one more time? I need to hear what Cenk said. I need to hear it one more time, what he said about Venezuela.
Is a brand new system. And whether that'll happen, a lot of powerful forces don't want it to happen, but that's what is being described is a totally new arrangement. See.
Yeah. So look, my sense of it is when you go and you attack other countries, our military is amazing, best in the world, best that's ever been created, right?
Yep.
So that was an amazing mission that they did in Venezuela and an amazing one they did in Iran. But
like I am vehemently anti-imperialism, anti-colonialism. I hate it. I have been very angry on a soul level since we did this bullshit in Venezuela. So hearing him say this shit is just so fucking infuriating because god fucking damn it, who are we? Who the fuck are we? How the fuck do we have the audacity? It's literally just might makes right. We can do whatever the fuck we want. And as long as we have the power to do so, we can go into other countries, we can kidnap their fucking leaders, and we can bring them back to America for bullshit crimes that we have decided they have done or whatever. and we can do that. We can do that as much as we want. And then when we don't want to do it, you know, when we could fucking put a stop to actual bad things happening in the fucking world. And instead of doing that, we're going into Venezuela. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. So yeah, I don't want to hear Cenk praise that shit or be out here being like, no, we're so badass. Like, we're losers. We're fucking losers. We are the worst. You're trying to turn us into bad empanada, obviously. Yeah, ay. Oh my god.
You do 3 or 4 of those, and you're going to get burned because it's just a matter of chances.
I think that's
Can we
right.
pause it? That is not you are not the biggest progressive show. If that's your analysis, you are not a left wing show.
Right. No, that's it. Like, that's it 100%. Like, if Cenk were to just fucking come out and be like, I'm a moderate, or I'm right leaning, or I'm not a leftist, or I'm not on the left. Like, he's basically done that actually already. He's basically said he's not a leftist at this point. He's all but said it outright. Like, if he just fucking owned up to it and just was like, nope, this is who I am, these are my opinions, and I am no longer representing the progressives. You know, if he just did that shit. Yeah, if he just did that shit, it would be like, I'd be over it. Like, I'd be fine. I would probably never talk about Cenk again. Like, I'd probably move on with my life, talk about other people, other things, you know. If Cenk said some crazy shit, then sure, I'd talk about him, but I wouldn't feel the necessity to talk about shit like this that is actively contradictory to the sort of position he's trying to put out there, to the idea that he's put out there about himself, which is that he's progressive, that he's left leaning, that he is someone who is, you know, who you would expect to be anti-imperialism or anti-colonialism, and who seemingly is not. So I just wonder how long before Cenk finally does just say, I'm not a progressive. like, does he ever do it? Does he ever just give in and say, I'm not a progressive? I'm full of shit, or, you know, not like that, but, you know, just move on, stop trying to play the role of the progressive. I don't think he does, because I don't think he can. He's built TYT as the home of the progressives, so it would be very hard for him to make that switch. But I don't know. There's got to be something, right? Like, there's got to be something that we do here, because I can't keep playing this game with you, Cenk.
Oh, you are a liberal centrist at best if you think illegal abductions of presidents of foreign nation in the middle of the night without any fucking international.
Right, exactly. Like, I don't really think he can pivot from being the home of the progressives. Just like he can't change the name from the Young Turks, right? Even though it would probably be like, even though people look at it a little sideways and have their opinions about it, and it would probably benefit him possibly to change it at this point, he can't really change it because he's branded himself so much around the Young Turks. Like, he's got so much, like, that's a costly change. Just like I think it would be a fairly costly change for him to make the switch from being the home of the progressives to, you know, in a different way. Like, it's probably less of a direct monetary change. Like, you probably have to, like, for the Young Turks, he has to, like, actually engage in changing branding across the board. But it's a similar sort of problem that he has, where he can't really make the change.
Understanding, there's no wimp, fucking send our people there, abduct him, put him in a fucking jail cell, circus court. Are you fucking kidding me? You think that's a good idea?
Yeah, he called it what, absolutely perfect or amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I think the best way to sort of describe the like the TYT like name, it's kind of, I think it's like a similar thing to like the Redskins kind of like as like a team name. It's like one of those things that you should change. It's going to be costly to change. It's going to be expensive to change, but the optics are going to be better if you change it. But I don't think Jank will ever change it. I think it's just too costly. I think it's too much it's too much of a brand at this point for him to make the change. Um like it's not impossible. Obviously, if you're going to do that, you have to make it as widely known as possible, and reflected across the board. So you're going to have to spend time going back through all of your videos and making changes there, um, and all sorts of other things. So it's just a very expensive change to make, and I don't think it's something that he will ever invest in, because I don't think he really cares. I don't think he has an issue with the name really. So I don't think he'll ever be bothered to change it.
Or what? I'm like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? The U.S. going back to like 1800 style imperialism where we just slaughter people, abduct leaders. And also, I'm sick of hearing how perfectly pulled off the Venezuela operation was. We killed like 80 fucking people. We killed.
That is a very good point, and I'm actually really glad that he brought that up, because that is something that has been fucking sort of skimmed over in the Venezuela shit, is that we did 100% do collateral damage, not just to people who were defending Maduro, but like civilians and shit like that. So yeah. Yeah. That is this idea that we fucking pulled that shit off without a hitch is pretty ridiculous. But of course it's the Trump administration, so they're gonna lie about whatever the fuck they want. They don't give a fuck. If they say they pulled it off, they pulled it off.
Like 80 fucking people in that abduction that no one talks about. Basically innocent people, including Venezuelan citizens, but also people that were just trying to, do their job and protect the president. We cut them down viciously, killed them for nothing. So I don't want to hear about how it was so perfectly, flawlessly executed when we actually murdered like literally dozens of fucking people in cold blood over that. And then the Iran thing, you're going to see some more evidence.
I am gonna skip to the next clip, but yeah. Nope, that is a very, very good point. That we did absolutely fucking we did kill civilians, we killed people who were protecting Maduro, people who were fucking Cubans who were there as well. Like it's a whole fucking thing.
Of the psychopathy that we're dealing with here. This is a really wild quote. That kind of reminds me of that quote we reacted to from Asmongold, where he basically admits to wanting to kill innocent people. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I fantasize about driving over like pedestrians with my car or whatever." This is very similar vibes from Tucker.
You have to attack Iraq.
Yep.
So it's the whole puzzle. It's not just one thing.
And there's another piece to it, is there's no power like the power to end human life. There's a thrill that people derive in being able to extinguish another person's life, because it's a godlike power, and I've certainly seen it a lot. People just like, not because they're evil or because they hate, but they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so powerful. It's
like, he's not even necessarily wrong in what he's saying, but he does just sound like a sociopath when he says it. like recognizing that like people get power and they do things that they obviously shouldn't. Yeah, Asman never gets banned. Yeah, 100%. But like he's not even necessarily like, I don't even think he's like necessarily wrong, but like he just sounds like a fucking sociopath. Like saying it. But it's Tucker Carlson. I think he sounds a little bit like that all the time.
unbelievable. I could literally kill someone, and it's allowed. Boy, that is addictive. And the more you do it, the more you like it.
Yeah, I'm worried about it.
The more you do it, the more.
Like, that is a crazy fucking quote. And I do think that to some degree, like, he's not even wrong. Like, I do think there is a for people who like it's possible I'm misunderstanding him, and I'm not saying that I like completely agree with him or I think that this is a good sort of sentiment to have or anything, but I do think that there are people who do get a sort of high off of like causing this sort of pain and destruction. If the world bombs us, the Roach Army will survive. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if that's what's left? Just Asmund and his Roach Army. God damn. Like yeah. Anyway, it's a crazy fucking quote from Tucker Carlson. He's just kind of. I think he's just kind of saying the quiet part out loud though. Here, I don't think it's necessarily. Like I think that's what's happening here. He's saying the quiet part out loud. He's saying the part that people try not to say or try not to fucking. They normally don't just say this shit out loud and are like, yeah, no, there's people who really like fucking killing people. Especially people who they deem are lesser than them or deserve it, you know? It'll be like that anime terraformer. Oh my god.
Or you like it? Bro, how many people have you killed? How do you even know that?
It's a weird ass quote from Tucker Carlson, but I think he's just saying the quiet part out loud. Like, I do think that people in the West get a sort of high off of watching their perceived enemies be sort of destroyed. Like I do like there were a lot of people who were celebrating the fucking Maduro shit. And I do think it comes from feeling powerful by watching your country sort of dominate or whatever. Like, it's not a good mindset to have. It's not something that I think is good, but it is something that I think is fairly true. Like, yes, there are a lot of people, especially in the West, who get a sort of who feel powerful, who feel strong watching their government go into other countries and wreak havoc and destroy things. Like, they do get a sense of like, oh, we're the big guys off of it. And yeah, exactly. It solidifies supremacist ideals. So he's very much just kind of saying the quiet part out loud here. It's a crazy thing for him to say like this, but it's not like he's not wrong. He's unfortunately correct.
Feel like if I ever killed someone, like obviously on accident, like somehow, some way, that wouldn't I would not gain like an addictive urge to do it again. I'd probably try.
No, because like you're probably someone who has empathy. Like you're probably somebody who has empathy, who thinks about other people and thinks about what happens to them. People like Tucker Carlson, they aren't. Like they see these things happening in these other countries. They see our government going into other countries and they get a high off of it. But like, yeah, if you have fucking empathy, if you're a person with a soul and like with, you know, care for your fellow human being, then yeah, you don't have that reaction. Like if you don't hold that belief that you're better than them inherently, then you're probably not going to be like, oh yeah, I love watching them get dominated and destroyed. It makes me feel so good.
Traumatize me. I'd probably never go back to living a normal life thanks to the guilt of having ended somebody's life. Imagine being like, oh, I think it'd probably be addicting, bro. I think if I got a taste of murder, I just want to be able to stop.
I think about that and couple it with the fact that this is a guy who spent his entire life around neocons and, you know, the most bloodthirsty killers in the American military and all of his deep state connections and his CIA affiliations and the fact that he likes to eat dinner at that race.
Sorry, I am just trying to get through this because it is now after 1 a.m. and I am crashing. I was tired when I started. I think liberals are like, to make an omelet, you gotta crack some eggs, and Republicans are like, hee haw, show those eggs who's bomb. That's probably, I mean, that's a fairly simple way of looking at it. But yeah, I think there's definitely some merit there to the sort of ideology or the sort of methods that, or the different approaches that, like liberals and like conservatives kind of have when it comes to these things. Like, yeah, I do think that liberals are more like it's okay if there's some collateral damage, whereas conservatives and Republicans are more likely to just be like just burn it all down, like just go, like just go balls to the wall, just dominate it all. Whereas, people who are more liberal are like, yeah, there might be some collateral damage, there might be some stuff here or there that happens, but at the end of the day, if the ends justify the means, then it's all okay. Like that kind of thing. Like, we don't really need to contend with the actual damage that we do as long as we get what we want in the end.
We adjust our camera so that we have good framing for this.
Unbelievable, right? So now the bestiality. Okay, so I do a segment on the Young Turks like over a decade ago. And I say, we had this guy, Rodell, that was having sex with horses in Tennessee. And we thought, what a bizarre, crazy story. He gave the horse an STD. Okay, we're like, Rodell, what are you doing? What are you doing? We're making fun of this guy. Then I really dryly, I go, you know what? If the horse is receiving it, I don't know that the horse is objecting, right? They cut the tape. And he goes, that's it. Jenks for bestiality. Okay. Now, if you keep rolling the tape, what I say next is the horse going to object? Nay. And then everybody in the studio
That's pretty
laughs.
funny, actually.
Yeah, and everybody laughs, but they cut that part out, right? So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love how he's explaining a joke about like horse rape, like like for lack of a better word. How did we get here? What is happening?
but New York Times made it seem like it was part of my legislative agenda.
Or sex?
Yes. I mean, isn't that like an old Lyndon Johnson quote?
Like, it sounds like they tried to paint him as a beast, as like someone who's into bestiality, which I think is definitely fucked up, especially since that's a fairly common like trope to like throw towards like Muslim people in general. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's telling a story about something he said being taken out of context and used against him to paint him as someone who's pro bestiality, but I'm not sure how they got to this conversation in general. But it's yeah. I'm not sure how they got here in general, but I'm pretty sure that's what he's talking about right now. Yeah, it's a very I mean, it's a common trope to like say that like Muslims are like, um like, I don't know, like fucking a goat or something. Like, it's a disgusting thing to say. But so like I do think that's fucked up to like make that sort of insinuation against him, but especially since he didn't say that. But I don't know how we got here.
Either way.
Enough horsing around.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously that Cenk is right. He was smeared based on that obvious joke. It was a joke. I've never actually thought Cenk was like in favor of bestiality or whatever because of that joke. But I still thought it was pretty funny he's still having to address this.
Yeah, that's I've actually never heard that. I didn't know that he had a bestiality allegation out there. I've never heard that. Looks like they watched something from Hasan, but I don't know what. It might be I'll take a guess. I'll take a guess at what it is and we'll see. It might be when Hasan was like, I'm not watching that. Cuz someone tried to get him to watch it on stream, and I think it might be that, or it could be something else, but I'm not sure. Let's see.
Again, shout out to Albert for sending this our way. Let's take a look.
What is up with your unk?
So on the other hand, when you get to Biden,
I don't want to look at.
Yep, I called it. I knew it. I called it. God damn it. Yeah, I didn't know he had a. I didn't know he had bestiality allegations out there. That's crazy. But not surprising actually. Now that I say that out loud, that like a Muslim guy has bestiality sort of allegations that have been levied against him by bad faith actors. Like that's not actually surprising now that I say it out loud. But it is just surprising because like I didn't know. But now that I say it out loud, like yeah, that is the kind of accusation that shitty people would levy against him. But I didn't know he had a whole like taken out of context moment for that. That's crazy. Yeah, it was just someone sent him like the Tommy Loren interview, and he's like, I don't want to watch it, which I don't suspect Hasan will ever watch, like will ever really contend with Cenk's like pivot or whatever, because I like, at the risk of sounding parasocial here, which fuck it, whatever. This is a parasocial comment. I do think that he is just a more of a family person first, like a family first person, and doesn't want to have to step on that, like toe that line of like having to like publicly comment on what's going on with Cenk and having to like deal with the private sort of ramifications of that. I do think he is a family first person who is not going to do that, just judging by sort of everything. Yeah, you don't need to smear him for it. It's not even like I didn't think the joke was particularly funny or hilarious, but it wasn't even so much that I thought it was like offensive or anything. I just didn't find it that funny. He needs Thanksgiving. Yeah, like Thanksgiving is like the only time that he'll like contend with it really. Like now, like any other time it seems to come up, he's very much like, I don't want to talk about this. And I mean I don't blame him. I think that's fair. I think that's a totally fair thing for him to not necessarily want to shit talk his uncle on his show. I mean that's within his yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think his family's pretty close just from what I have sort of picked up from just, I mean, watching him. It does seem like his family's fairly close, and they come over to his house quite a bit. So, I think it's just something that he personally draws the line on, if I had to guess. Which again, I mean, that's fair. That's his choice to make. But I do think that is the case here, and I don't blame him, because I'm not sure. Does Anna still hate him? I think she does. I think she does. I feel like she said something recently that kind of felt like a jab at Hasan, but I don't know for sure. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was like within like the last maybe like 6 months or something, but I don't know. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think she's still fairly anti-Hasan. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, she did. Which is funny to me. Cuz again, I think that, and I think Cenk is a similar way. I think that Cenk puts his family probably before necessarily getting into a public beef online with them. So I don't think he's likely to start beef with Hasan either. Like I don't think he's super comfortable with doing that, but I don't think Anna cares. Like I think Anna is fine taking as many shots at Hasan as she likes.
This man, please stop. I don't. Why do you guys show me this, man? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Like that's my blood relative, okay? It's enough that you already have to experience this in your own family. Why are you making me also experience it in my own family in real time? You know what I mean? Control your bro. Brother, my has seen me my pants. It's the same principle behind why I have an easier time convincing your MAGA parents than you do. You think he's going to listen to me? No, he does not.
Can you
Same reason why your parents don't listen to you.
Honestly, it's so real. It's so real when he's like, bro, this is a man who has seen me shit.
Yeah, like I think Hassan's just like, it's out of my hands, man. Like it's out of my hands. Yeah, Jank just let it happen. Jank is someone who I think that he and Anna have an interesting sort of dynamic at this point because I don't think he's like super keen to fight with her on various things. Like he will still argue with her on some things, but he doesn't really push back against her very often. And there are times when I feel like he doesn't necessarily agree, like he's not 100% on the same page as her, but he'd rather just let her kind of cook and it's just like, I'm gonna just step aside for this one. I'm gonna just let her go. And I think that was probably one of those scenarios where he was like, I'm gonna just let her go and I'm gonna just keep myself over here. Like I have no control over Anna and she's going to say what she's going to say. I think that's probably his mindset on that. But yeah. So that's about it with this. Thank you, by the way, for suggesting we watch the Vanguard video because I completely I hadn't even thought of that, but that was a little bit of Jank's conversation with Tucker Carlson. If Anna leaves, he's cooked, so he probably placates. Yeah, I do think that I do think he probably senses that Anna has one foot out the door. And doesn't necessarily want to push her out the door. So I think he's probably playing his cards fairly carefully when it comes to her. But yeah. Oh. What the hell? It just hit me with it randomly. That's crazy. All right. All right. All right. No, that's dope. It wasn't even playing. Like, it wasn't even playing. Are we good? I don't know. I'm going to wrap the stream up here soon anyways because it is very late and I would like to eat some food before I go to sleep. And maybe he's just older and has less fight. Yeah, I think that's definitely possible too. But yeah. All right, I am going to wrap this baby up because it is pretty late. But I appreciate y'all watching. I will be back Sunday night, tomorrow night. I mean, I guess tonight because it's technically Sunday where I am already. I will be back Sunday for Sunday stream. We'll chill out. We'll do some stuff. I've been kind of trying to figure out like some fun stuff to do. But I haven't really, I don't know. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know. I'd like to, when I get my computer back, which should be soon, finally, I'll be able to pay the money and bail her out of jail. I will, probably go back to doing some gaming, maybe some gaming nights or something like that for fun. But yeah, I'd like to start doing some fun stuff as well. And yeah, other than that though, thank you. I will see y'all tomorrow and or tonight, whatever, depending on where you are. And that's it. So peace, love, all that good stuff. Catch you later. And good